The moonlight shines like a silver hook on the wilderness on the edge of the city. This forgotten ancient cemetery from the Qing dynasty looks like a sleeping giant. The tombstones are tilted and overgrown, and there is a faint smell of decaying earth among the overgrown weeds. When the wind blows, the dead branches sway and make a low whimper, like countless ghosts whispering. It is said that this place was once the burial place of a shocking injustice case in the Qing dynasty. An official who was falsely accused and his whole family died tragically, and their resentment was so high that their souls linger for generations. Every full moon night, the grave soil will be turned over in search of blood for revenge. The locals are afraid to avoid it, but the Qin family, who have guarded the tomb for generations, live in seclusion there, guarding the hidden secret of the ancient painting's psychic ability. A cursed painting that is said to be able to connect yin and yang. Yiji's eyes were bright with excitement. She was the backbone of the adventure club, and always loved to lead everyone into forbidden places. Tonight she persuaded Tang Yue, Suwan and Lin Fan to come together. Look how exciting this place is. The ghost stories said here on the internet are true. The dead are resurrected on a full moon night. Haha, who is afraid of whom? She waved the flashlight of her mobile phone to illuminate the modeled tombstones. The inscriptions were engraved with vague Qing dynasty characters, which looked like bloodstains. Suwan held Tang Yue's arm tightly, her body trembling. She is Tang Yue's roommate. She is usually as timid as a mouse and doesn't even dare to watch horror movies. Yeah, let's go, this place is too spooky. What if there is a ghost? Yiji, you are crazy, you brought us to such a ghost place. Her voice trembled and her eyes glanced around, as if something was already peeping in the darkness. Lin Fan, Suwan's boyfriend, hugged her waist and pretended to be a hero. Don't be afraid, Wanwan, I'm here. These are all feudal superstitions. In the age of science, where are the ghosts? Yiji is right, it's so cool to explore. Tang Yue, what do you think? He turned to look at Tang Yue, his tall figure casting a long shadow in the moonlight, trying to appear reliable. Tang Yue smiled slightly. She was a curious female college student who was always full of desire to explore the unknown. On weekdays, she is the top student in the class with clear logic and never believes in ghosts and gods. It's okay, Suwan, let's just take a walk and take a look. It'll be okay. Yiji, why is that tombstone in front so big? She let go of Suwan's hand and stepped forward. The beam of her mobile phone's flashlight swept across the grass, revealing an exceptionally tall and dilapidated tombstone. The surrounding soil was soft, as if it had just been turned over. There was a damp, musty smell in the air, mixed with a touch of blood, which made people feel frightened. The four people gathered around, and Yiji took the lead in squatting down and pushing away the weeds excitedly. Wow, what's engraved on this tombstone? Wounded souls linger. Blood debts are paid with blood. Haha, that's scary. Come on, let's take a group photo. She asked everyone to pose, and the flashlight pierced the night. The cracks on the tombstone seemed to come to life, twisting into a ferocious grimace. Suwan screamed and crawled into Lin Fan's arms. Stop filming. Feels like there are eyes staring at us here. Yeah, my heart is beating so fast. Her face was pale and her hands were cold. Lin Fan quickly comforted her. Baby, don't scare yourself. Tang Yue, look at Suwan, she's so scared, should we retreat? Tang Yue did not flinch. Her eyes fell on an old picture frame hanging on an iron frame right in front of the tombstone. The paint on the frame is mottled and peeling, and the edges are carved with twisted ghost door patterns. The glass is covered with thick dust, but the scene in the painting can be vaguely seen. A dark ghost door with scarlet blood seeping from the cracks in the door, surrounded by countless pale figures, teeth and claws. A line of small words is engraved below the frame. Yin and Yang medium. The soul of those who touch it will fly. This painting is so weird. Tang Yue murmured to herself, her curiosity driving her to reach out and lightly touch the glass surface. It felt cold and biting, like touching a corpse in a grave. Look, this glass seems to have cracks. Is it an antique? Yiji came up and widened his eyes. Tang Yue, you dare to touch it? You are so brave. It is said on the internet that there is a tombkeeper Qin Feng in this cemetery, who specializes in guarding such cursed paintings. Legend has it that if the frame of the painting is broken, it will summon the ghost gate. She giggled as she said it. Lin Fan frowned and pulled Tang Yue. Yeah, don't touch it. What if it breaks? Suwon is about to faint. Suwon nodded like garlic, her voice trembling. Yes, yeah, listen to Lin Fan, let's go. This painting looks evil at first sight, and I feel a chill on my back. Tang Yue shook his head with firm eyes. It's okay, just touch it, it's not a child. Her fingers gently slid on the glass and suddenly there was a crisp sound. The glass of the picture frame shattered for no reason. The cracks spread like spider webs, and the fragments clinked to the ground. Instantly a gloomy whisper came from the painting. Blood! Give me my blood! Resurrection! The voice was hoarse and twisted, like countless nails scraping across a blackboard, and penetrated into my mind. The four of them froze. Suwon screamed. Oh, why did the glass break? Tang Yue, what did you do? Yiji's smile froze, her phone fell to the ground, and the flashlight rolled to illuminate the shadow of the tombstone. This is impossible. The wind has not blown, is it a ghost? Tang Yue, what triggered you? Her voice changed from excitement to trembling, her legs became weak, and she showed fear for the first time. Lin Fan's protectiveness collapsed instantly. He hugged Suwon tightly and stared at the frame. Damn, this place is really weird. Let's run. But his voice was also panicked, and his usual tough guy image was gone. The surrounding air suddenly turned cold. The cold wind swept up the grave soil, and the grass between the tombstones rustled. In the distance, several tombs were bulging, and clods of earth were flying, as if something was struggling to crawl out of the ground. Low footsteps came from all directions, thump, 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 like rotten soles stepping on the soil, accompanied by the clicking sound of bones rubbing against each other. The undead are resurrected. The whispers became louder, the blood glowed in the frame, and the ghost gate slowly opened a crack. Tang Yue's heart was beating wildly, but she forced herself to calm down and her mind was racing. Don't panic, everyone. This may be an illusion or the aftermath of the earthquake. Suwon, are you okay? She turned around to pull Suwon, but saw that Suwon's eyes had become blurry and strange black and blue lines appeared on her cheeks. Suwon murmured. It's calling me blood debt. Her body twitched, as if being held by invisible hands. Lin Fan shouted in horror. Wan, what's wrong with you? Tang Yue, this is your fault. We are dead. He dragged Suwon back while Yiji was already running away crying. Ghost! The footsteps are getting closer and closer. Deep in the cemetery, more grave soil exploded, and pale arms stretched out from the soil, with long and sharp nails and dripping rotten flesh. The dark wind blew up the fallen leaves, and under the moonlight those figures stood up swaying, with red light shining in their empty eye sockets, and their mouths opened, letting out hungry roars. The sound of footsteps came like a tide, blocking the four people's retreat. Tang Yue gritted his teeth and glanced around, trying to find an exit. Run to the iron gate over there. Qin Feng's tombkeeper may be nearby. But her voice was almost drowned in the wind. Suwon suddenly broke away from Lin Fan and stood there blankly, staring blankly at the frame. It wants me. In. At this moment in the frame, a pale ghost hand suddenly stretched out, glass shards scattered everywhere. Its fingertips were like hooks, and it hit Suwon's shoulder. Suwon's scream tore through the night sky. The pale ghost hand, like a bone hook and claw, carrying the stench of decay, swooped out from the crack in the frame. His fingertips grazed her shoulder, tearing the fabric, leaving a cold blood trail. The blood beads rolled down and were instantly swallowed up by the grave soil, making a sizzling, steaming sound. Suwon's body trembled violently, her eyes rolled white, and she murmured, Blood, my blood! She staggered back and ran into Lin Fan's arms. Her legs were as soft as mud. Wan. Lin Fan's roar was mixed with panic. He waved his hand and pushed the ghost hand away, but it only missed. The hand twisted like smoke and instantly retracted into the frame, followed by a vicious chuckle. Lin Fan's face was ashen, and his usual tough guy aura collapsed. He picked up Suwon and turned around to run. His steps staggered on the soft grave soil, sinking into the mud with every step. Run! Tang Yue, this is not a fucking hallucination. That hand touched me. It's as cold as a dead person. Yiji had already lost her mind. Her mobile phone rolled to the ground, and the flashlight beam flickered around, illuminating the raised soil on the surrounding graves. Those clods of soil were squirming like living creatures, faintly glowing with blood-red light. Ghost? There is a ghost. Tang Yue, why are you still standing there? Her voice was shrill and her legs were weak. When she got up, her knees were bruised and her pants were stained red with blood. She grabbed her phone and ran without looking back, crying as she ran. I was wrong, I shouldn't have dragged you here. Did you hear the footsteps? They are chasing me. Tang Yue's heart was beating like a war drum, and the cold touch of touching the glass just now flashed in his mind. But she forced herself to take a deep breath, her logic suppressing her panic like steel. Don't mess up. Run to the iron gate of the entrance. Stay in formation. Her voice was surprisingly smooth, penetrating the dark wind and piercing everyone's eardrums. When Lin Fan heard this, he was stunned. He usually thought that Tang Yue was just a curious nerd. But now her calmness made him subconsciously obey and drag Suwon forward to speed up. Tang Yue, are you not afraid? Those ghost hands. You have to run if you're afraid. Scientific explanation. Wind pressure. The foundation of the cemetery is unstable, the glass is old and broken, and the hallucination is caused by low-frequency sound waves. Tang Yue said as he caught up with Yiji, grabbing her arm and pulling her to steady her pace. Her palms were warm and powerful. Yiji's eyes widened and moist and she gasped. Wind pressure. You can still think about this? My heart is about to jump out. Yiji's admiration was mixed with doubts. How could this girl still act like a scientist at this time? But her footsteps became steadier and she stopped scurrying around. The four of them stumbled through the jungle of tombstones, with the sound of broken bones under their feet. The sound of footsteps in the distance was like a tidal wave, and the greasy friction sound of carrion mopping the floor was mixed in, making people's spine numb. The dark wind picked up the fallen leaves and slapped the face like ghost claws scratching. Suwon twitched on Lin Fan's back, and a black and blue fingerprint loomed on the back of her neck. She whispered, "It is inside, telling me to go back." Finally, they rushed to the entrance of the cemetery. The rusty iron door was ajar. Outside was the wilderness road, and the moonlight stretched the shadows. Lin Fan kicked open the iron door, and the four of them collapsed in the grass outside the door, panting. Yiji curled up into a ball, holding her knees with her hands, and her tears mixed with the soil and fell down. We almost died there. Tang Yue, why are you so calm? When the ghost hands attacked Suwon just now, my mind went blank, and you were still shouting formation. Her eyes were complicated, and there was a trace of confusion in the fear. This roommate usually only likes to read, so how can he act like a leader at critical moments? Lin Fan put Suwon down and checked her wounds. The blood stain has scabbed over, but the skin around it is strangely black. His fingers are trembling and his voice is hoarse. One will wake up. Tang Yue, your explanation sounds reasonable, but that hand, I feel it, it's real. It's not the wind. He stared at Tang Yue, his eyes mixed with accusation and dependence, and his tall body shrank slightly, as if seeking confirmation. Tang Yue wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and recalled the cemetery legends in his mind. Those sporadic posts on the internet, unjust cases in the Qing dynasty, an official was framed, the whole family was beheaded, the head was hung in front of the ghost gate, and the resentful spirits took revenge for generations. The frame? Is the medium? She shook her head to suppress her thoughts and looked around. Outside the entrance was a wilderness, the road was empty, and the nearest city lights were far away. Set up camp and observe first. There is signal on the phone. Lin Fan checks the history. Yiji, there is a tent and a first aid kit in the backpack. Her instructions were clear, and everyone was stunned. They set up a simple tent in the grass outside the iron gate, and the flashlight beam shivered to illuminate the surroundings. It was late at night, the moon was full and high in the sky, and the fog filled the cemetery like a living thing. It slowly seeped out from the cracks in the iron door, carrying a damp, moldy smell. Lin Fan turned on his cell phone, with barely 2 bars of signal, and typed in injustice cases at ancient cemetery in the Qing dynasty. A few old news popped up on the page. More than 100 years ago, local official Zhang was falsely accused of corruption, and 30 members of his family made a blood sacrifice to the ghost gate. The cemetery was built on the site of his beheading, and the frame was painted by Zhang's wife before she died, cursing future generations. Look, There were real unjust cases in the Qing dynasty. Blood debts were paid with blood, just like tombstones. Lin Fan's voice trembled, his wide eyes reflected on the screen of his mobile phone, and he turned to Tang Yue. You mean wind pressure? Does this make sense? Suwan's injury is as dark as poison. Suwan opened her eyes slightly, her face was as pale as paper and her voice was weak. Yeah? Thank you for pulling me. The back of my neck feels so cold as if something is blowing. She touched her neck, and there were stinging pains from her fingerprints. Lin Fan's heart clenched and he murmured, My baby. It's all my fault for not protecting it well. Yiji wiped away her tears and strengthened her adventurous spirit. Maybe it's a coincidence. Legend says that the full moon resurrects, but we didn't see a corpse, right? Keep exploring, Tang Yue. You look so handsome just now, I'm sure you will. What if there is a baby? Her tone pretended to be strong, but she tightened her clothes with her hands and her eyes wandered, obviously lacking confidence. She was still confused about Tang Yue's calmness. Why is this girl not crying or making trouble? Tang Yue nodded, pretending to be calm despite the turmoil in his heart. Legends are legends, observe first. Suwan, you rest, I'll keep watch. She recalled the moment she touched the frame, and the whispers penetrated her mind, like countless needles piercing her soul. But she can't panic. Everyone already regards her as a pillar of support. The fog is getting thicker, carrying the sound of knocking on the tomb in the distance. Dong, 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 like fingernails scraping the wall from the coffin, intermittently, with a rhythm like a heartbeat. Suwan huddled in the tent and murmured, Here we go again. The back of my neck is cold and someone licks it. As time passed to midnight, the sound of knocking became intensive, and swaying figures appeared in the fog, varying in height, with empty eye sockets flashing red. Lin Fan's face turned pale and he clenched his cell phone. The signal is gone. Tang Yue, we can't sit still and wait for death. Go and see the frame. Smash it. His voice was filled with despair. He, who was usually very protective, now looked at Tang Yue as if asking for help. Yiji gritted her teeth and stood up. Yes, don't lose your adventurous spirit. But her legs were shaking and she whispered to Tang Yue. You take the lead, okay? You saved me just now, I believe you. Tang Yue took a deep breath of mist, feeling chilled in her lungs. She took the lead and pushed open the iron door, and the four of them returned to the tombstone jungle. The mist was like a ghost, the footsteps were very close, and the dead leaves rustled like a ghost whispering, Blood, blood for blood. Hallucination struck, and Lin Fan rubbed his eyes. I saw a white shadow behind the tombstone. Yiji screamed and covered her mouth. Don't say it. My vision is also blurred, as if there were hands waving in front of my eyes. In front of the picture frame, the moonlight shone through the fog, and Tang Yue's heart sank to the bottom. The glass fragments automatically pieced together. The cracks faded away, and the ghost door in the painting became clearer. Blood light pulsated at the cracks in the door, and a pale face could be seen twisting and roaring. Yin energy surged out like a tide, the surrounding air was distorted, and the vision intensified. Countless hands stretched out from the grave soil, grabbing at the ankles. Smash it! Lin Fan picked up the tombstone rubble with red eyes and smashed the frame. The stone hit the glass, but it bounced out like hitting an invisible wall, hitting him in the chest. He flew 3 meters away, vomited blood and fell to the ground, his eyes widened. There is something blocking it, like a force field. Tang Yue, this is not science. His fear reached its peak, and his eyes staring at Tang Yue changed from confusion to shock. How could she still stand firm? Suwan stumbled forward, her eyes distracted. It's calling. I saw it. Yiji hugged Lin Fan and cried. Lin Fan, are you okay? Tang Yue, this painting is alive. We are dead. Her admiration shattered, leaving only panic, and she was puzzled by Tang Yue's calmness. Isn't she afraid of death? Suwan's scream cut through the mist like a sharp knife. Her twisted face was as pale as grave wax in the moonlight. Her eyes were sunken into black shadows, her pupils dilated into bottomless abyss, and the words coming out of her mouth were no longer human voices, but a hoarse ancient accent. Mr. Zhang. A blood sacrifice for the whole family. The door to hell will be opened, and the blood debt will be repaid. Her body twitched violently, as if being pulled by invisible threads. The black marks on her shoulders squirmed and spread like living insects. Blue veins popped out, and a faint red light appeared under her skin. She threw away Lin Fan's embrace, staggered around, and grabbed the picture frame with her hands like claws, but her steps involuntarily stepped back, heading deeper into the tombs. Tang Yue stepped forward, her tentacles were bone-chilling, and the injustice of the Qing dynasty flashed through her mind, but she gritted her teeth. Don't touch. Find the source. The psychological pressure was overwhelming. Sweat mixed with tears fell down her face. She supported the leader, and everyone looked at her with complicated eyes. Suddenly, Suwan leaned back suddenly and screamed harshly. Ah! A black shadow of resentment flashed in her eyes, her face twisted and she murmured. Zhang's wrong soul, blood debt. Blood sacrifice of the whole family. Give me back my life. Wanwan. Stop. Lin Fan was vomiting blood and the pain in her chest was as sharp as fire. He got up and rushed towards her, his thick arms tightly hugging her waist, but he felt that what he was hugging was not flesh and blood, but a cold corpse. Suwan's head whipped around, and her forehead hit the bridge of his nose. Blood spurted out. Stars appeared in front of Lin Fan's eyes. He let go and fell to the ground, with nosebleeds mixed with mud all over his face. Damn it! She has changed. Tang Yue, this is not Wanwan. There is something moving in her eyes. Inside them. Yiji's cry was stuck in her throat. She hugged Lin Fan's legs and knelt on her knees in the grave soil. Her hands trembled like dead leaves in the wind. Suwan, wake up. Let's go home. Tang Yue, think of a way. She's going to walk into the fog. Her vision was blurred, and in her vision, the tombstones around her were covered with pale fingers, and their bent joints made a clicking sound, reaching towards them. Yiji's usual enthusiasm for adventure completely collapsed. She stared at Tang Yue's back, her voice filled with crying admiration. You always have a way, right? When the frame bounced off Lin Fan just now, you were still standing still. My legs were weak. How did you do it? Tang Yue's heart was as heavy as a tomb bell, and every beat was accompanied by a whisper echoing in her head. Blood, blood for blood. She suppressed her panic, and her logic was like the last fortress. Don't chase too close. Suwan is affected, low-frequency sound waves or poisonous gas. Follow her, but keep your distance. Her voice cut through the night sky, as steady as a scalpel. Lin Fan wiped away the nosebleed and opened his bloodshot eyes. He usually regarded Tang Yue as a little girl, but now he was in awe. You are still analyzing? Okay, I listen to you. He got up and chased after dragging his injured body. Yiji gritted his teeth and followed, muttering as he ran. Tang Yue, are you a Superman? My heartbeat is 200, and your expression doesn't change. Deep in the tombs, a forbidden tomb stands. The tombstone is taller than a human body. It is wrapped with iron chains and rusty like blood scabs. The tombstone is engraved with runes and glows faintly. Suwan ran straight here, scratching the iron chain with both hands, making a harsh scratching sound. Her nails were broken, and her flesh and blood were blurred, but she didn't notice it. Lin Fan rushed forward and hugged her waist tightly. Wanwan, don't touch. That's the forbidden tomb. The most vicious one in the legend. But Suwan was so strong that she hit her ribs with her back elbow. Lin Fan fell to the ground with a groan, blood spraying from his mouth, and the pain in his chest was like tearing an old wound. Tang Yue, save her. I can't hold on anymore. She's as strong as a ghost. For people know 3 people chased Suwan deep into the tombs. The mist wrapped around her ankles like a living snake. The moonlight shattered into mottled silver shavings and scattered, illuminating the mottled inscription on the tombstone. The wrong souls will not be separated, and the blood debts will be paid with blood. The sound of footsteps echoed everywhere, like countless coffin paddles hitting the wooden board. Close to my ears and far away in the horizon. Suwan swayed forward, murmuring incessantly. The gate of hell. Opened, 30 mouths. Return lives. Her footsteps crushed dry bones, and the clicking sound was like a rhythm, causing the surrounding tombs to bulge, faintly revealing a blood-red light, like the earth breathing. When Yiji saw this, her adventurous instinct broke out in panic. She caught a glimpse of a crack on the side of the forbidden tomb, with a faint red light coming out. I'll go take a look. Maybe there are clues that can save Suwan. Without waiting for a response, she rushed towards the crack alone, flashlight beam swaying wildly, illuminating the crawling black shadow underground. Tang Yue, you mind Suwan, I'll check here. She pretended to be brave, but her legs were shaking like chaff and she growled to Tang Yue. You take the lead, I trust you, but hurry up. Yiji, don't do it alone. Come back. Tang Yue shouted, reaching out to pull, but was tripped by Suwan's struggle. She rushed towards Suwan, pressed her arm firmly, her warm palm met the cold ghost claws. Suwan, look at me. You are my roommate, Suwan, we stay up late to watch dramas together. Tell me, how do you feel? Her face was close to Suwan, sweat mixed with tears falling down, and the fear in her heart was like a tide. This is not science, this is a real ghost. At this moment, screams erupted from the cracks in the forbidden tomb. Yi's voice was heartbreaking. Ah, hands! There are hands under the ground grabbing me. Tang Yue, help me dash. The flashlight rolled down and the beam illuminated a terrifying scene. Countless pale arms burst out from the ground, like rotten tree roots wrapped around Yiji's ankles. Her figure sank rapidly. The soil was churning like a living mouth, blood spattered from the cracks, dyeing the tombstone red. Her fingers clawed at the edge of the monument, her fingernails dug into the bleeding marks, and her face was distorted and desperate. They pulled me down. All their faces. Their rotten faces were smiling.
Tang Yue.
The scream suddenly stopped, leaving only the sound of earth swallowing, and the echoing sound like a ghost's cry. Suwan's body stiffened, and the black shadow receded from her eyes. She gasped like a broken bellows and her voice was weak and intermittent. Yeah, it came in, the back of the neck seemed to be licked by a tongue, and the shoulders were burning. It said, I am the first sacrifice. Zhang's wife's hatred used me to take revenge. Her words were like thunder. Lin Fan's eyes widened and he got up. Hugging her legs, his voice trembled. Possessed? Really fucking possessed? Tang Yue, did you hear? This is not an illusion. We are finished. His protective instinct collapsed. His tall body curled up, and his usual tough guy image was shattered into powder. His eyes towards Tang Yue were full of shock and begging. Are you still calm? Tell me what to do. You always have a way. Yizihei. Lin Fan roared like a wild beast. He rushed towards the crack and dug the soil with his hands, but was rebounded by an invisible force. He flew 10 feet away and fell on the tombstone. The sound of bone cracking was heard. He covered his arm and wailed. My hand is broken. She was dragged in, buried alive. Tang Yue, this cemetery is alive. His eyes were red, tears mixed with blood fell down, and he broke down and shouted. We are dead. The ghost is eating people. Run. A full-scale mutation broke out in the cemetery, and the whispers of the undead surrounded them like a tide. Blood, return for blood. Revenged souls return. There were numerous figures in the mist, tall and short, incomplete, empty eye sockets flashing with red light, rotten flesh dragging the ground wet and greasy, and footsteps like thousands of galloping horses. The tomb soil exploded everywhere, withered palms stretched out and clawed at the air, and the hallucinations intensified. Before everyone's eyes, there was an illusion of an unjust case in the Qing dynasty. A whole family of 30 knelt on the ground, heads rolled down in front of the ghost gate, and blood pooled into a river. Lin Fan picked up Suwan and ran lamely, shouting as he ran. Tang Yue, where did you say it came from? How did it break? My Wanwan is dying. Yizhi. Yizhi his shoes. Oh my God. His voice turned from fear to desperate admiration. You found it. You are our savior. The team was about to split up. Suwan murmured for mercy. Let me go. Lin Fan blamed himself and cried. It's all my fault for not protecting him. Tang Yue took the lead and scanned the surroundings. In the distance, there was a flickering light on the edge of the cemetery, the gravekeeper's cabin. Over there. The cabin. There's someone there. She grabbed Lin Fan's arm and dragged him forward. The three of them stumbled through the jungle of tombstones, with ghosts chasing behind them. Their claws grazed the corners of clothes, tearing the fabric, and the coldness was biting. The psychological fear was at its peak. Lin Fan broke down and screamed while running. The ghosts are behind. Their mouths are biting the air. Tang Yue, thank you for leading the way. Otherwise we would have dispersed. How can you still think of a way out at this time? Suwan convulsed and fell to the ground. The shadow temporarily retreated. She murmured. Yi! It wants us all. Tang Yue rushed to the crack, knelt down and groped, and her fingers touched a Shuji's sneaker. The upper was stained with sticky blood, and there was still warm foot sweat inside the shoe, and the smell of blood was tangy. She raised her shoes, her hands trembling, and Yiji's admiring look flashed in her mind. This, blood. She is missing, really missing. Fear finally broke her calmness, tears burst into her eyes, but she gritted her teeth and stood up. It's not an illusion. Supernatural power. The picture frame is the source, but now. Escape. Find the exit. Finally, the iron door of the small house is in sight, the wooden door is mottled, and the candlelight is dim in the window. Tang Yue kicked the door open, and a gloomy look came from inside. The gravekeeper Qin Feng, with an old face as pale as wrinkles, his cloudy eyes locked on them and murmured, "It's too late." Qin Feng's murmur was like an echo from the depths of a tomb, sticky and slow, as if every word was dragging thousands of pounds of rot. His figure stood at the door of the hut, the candlelight elongating his outline, his face with wrinkles as deep as a knife flickering in and out of the flames, and his cloudy eyes reflected the embarrassed reflections of the four people. Tang Yue was panting. His hands were stained with mud and blood. Lin Fan was half dragging and half hugging Su Wan, with his tall body bent like a shrimp, and his broken arms hanging like rags. Su Wan lay limp in his arms, the black marks on her shoulders had spread to her collarbones, and she was squirming like living maggots, with veins bulging under her skin, as if something was gnawing at her flesh and blood. "It's too late," Qin Feng repeated, his voice hoarse like sandpaper scraping across the coffin board. He slowly turned aside to let the door open, but his eyes were fixed on Su Wan. His pupils contracted slightly, as if he saw something that shouldn't exist. "Come in, the devil is catching up with you." There was no warmth in his words, only a sense of tired fate. The iron key in his hand jingled, and the cabin behind the door smelled of moldy wood and old incense ash. Tang Yue had no time to respond. She glanced at the small room. It was as narrow as a coffin, the walls were covered with yellowed talismans, there were rusty shovels and a pile of tombstone fragments piled in the corner, and an oil lamp swayed on the wooden table in the center, illuminating the faint blood stains under the table. She helped Su Wan sit on the broken chair, tore off her sleeves and pressed against the black mark. The cold touch made her fingertips numb, and fear surged in her heart like a dark tide. This was not an illusion. Yiji's shoes were still held in Lin Fan's belt, and the smell of blood was pungent.
Sunnuntai-veaen. Hold on.
Tell me the possessed thing. What else can you say? Her voice was as steady as a rock, suppressing the trembling, and her mind quickly pieced together clues. Picture frames, forbidden tombs, Zhang's unjust case. There are patterns in this cemetery. Su Wan's head hung weakly, her lips were chapped and bleeding, and she murmured like a ghost. Zhang's wife's hatred. Wants me to kill for her. 30 mouths, the whole family's blood. Yeah, I'm so cold. The back of my neck is biting me. Her eyes were half closed, the black shadow flashed away, and a small bump suddenly bulged from the black mark on her shoulder. There was a click, and the skin cracked, black blood oozing out, and the stench hit her nostrils. When Lin Fan saw this, he was so frightened that he backed away and knocked over the stool. The shaking of his broken arm caused severe pain. He covered his mouth and retched, his voice trembling uncontrollably. Wan, God, don't be like that. Tang Yue, did you see? Her flesh is rotting. We are dead. This old man must know something, why didn't he tell us? Qin Feng slowly walked to the table, flicking the oil lamp with his skinny fingers. The flames surged, illuminating an ancient jade amulet around his neck. The jade was engraved with twisted runes. The Qin family has guarded the tomb for 3 generations. This cemetery is the Zhang family's tomb in the Qing dynasty. An unjust case was a blood sacrifice. 30 members of the whole family knelt in front of the ghost gate and were beheaded. Before Zhang's wife died, she drew the ghost gate picture to curse future generations. At midnight of the full moon, the glass of the frame cracked, and the dead were resurrected, sucking blood to repay debts. His words were as plain as chanting sutras, but he concealed the key point, and his eyes flickered to avoid Su Wan. You broke in and violated a taboo. The first sacrifice has been decided. The 3 of them stumbled in, and Lin Fan kicked the door open. He slid to sit with his back against the door panel, his chest heaving violently, and the pain from his broken arm made his teeth bleed. Old man. Who the hell are you? Is it safe here? Outside. It's full of ghosts outside. Yiji was buried alive, and Suwon was possessed. His roar was filled with tears, and the tall man's usual toughness was shattered into dregs, and his eyes were red. Hong stared at Tang Yue full of crumbling admiration. You thank God you brought us here. Otherwise we would have been fat. How do you know this cabin? I can't see anything clearly in the fog. Do you have night vision? The first sacrifice? Lin Fan's eyes widened, nosebleeds were still dripping, and his face was covered with sweat. He slammed the table, his face twisted in pain from his broken arm, but he couldn't care. His voice turned from fear to roaring. Old man, you mean Suwon? Do you have a solution? How to break the curse? Picture frame? Smash it. He was so protective that he usually thought of himself as a hero, but now he was like a helpless child. He turned around and begged Tang Yue. You what he said about Zhang's unjust case. Did you remember what I checked on my phone? The whole family's blood sacrifice to the ghost gate. We have to destroy the frame. You take the lead, I'll follow. Tang Yue's heart was like a war drum, and the weird scene of the picture frame automatically joining together flashed in her mind. She stood up and glanced at Qin Feng with sharp eyes. Tombkeeper, you know how to break the law, right? What are you hiding? The footsteps outside are approaching. As soon as she finished speaking, there was a dense thumping sound outside the hut, like thousands of dead bones knocking on the ground, mist seeping through the cracks of the door, mixed with the wet sound of carrion rubbing against each other. Countless red eyes reflected on the window paper, staring blankly, as if the window would be broken in the next second. Suwon screamed, hugged her head and huddled up. They are coming. Yiji is calling me. The air in the room instantly solidified, and Lin Fan's face turned as white as paper. He threw himself to the window, and saw through the gaps in the paper that the grave soil was bulging and figures tall and short were crawling with broken limbs. Black blood was dripping from his mouth, and he whispered, blood? Blood for blood. His knees softened, he knelt down and held his head, his voice choked with sobs. It's over, they're all here. Countless hundreds. Old man, help me. Tang Yue, do you hear me? We're sleepy. His adoring eyes were like a drowning man grabbing straw, staring at Tang Yue's back and trembling. You have a way. Just now you saw the hut in the fog, are you a god? Tang Yue took the amulet and gave it to Suwon and Lin Fan. Her palms were so hot that they were red. She took a deep breath, fear pressed into her heart, and her logic was like a sharp blade cutting through chaos. If you don't enter, you will die. The frame is the medium, and you can only stop it by destroying the source. Mr. Qin, come with us, you know the way. Her words were like military orders, and Lin Fan's eyes widened. The broken arm no longer hurt. He climbed up and helped Suwon, his voice full of awe. Listen to you. Yeah, are you crazy? Take the initiative to enter the tomb? But you are right. Old man, let's go. Suwon touched the amulet, and the black shadow temporarily retreated. She gasped and looked at Tang Yue with gratitude flashing in her eyes. Yeah? You are not afraid? Qin Feng hesitated for a moment, sighed and nodded. Fool. Follow me. He opened the back door, and there was a narrow path hidden behind the hut, leading straight to the forbidden tomb where the picture frame was located. The footsteps of the undead outside were approaching like a tide. Their red eyes flashed in the fog, and their roars shook the sky. Tang Yue took the lead, the amulet shimmering to protect her body. Her heartbeat was like thunder, but she forced herself to scan her surroundings. There were many tombstones and the inscriptions, the souls of the dead are still alive, and the debts must be repaid with blood, glowed red in the moonlight. Lin Fan protected Suwon from behind, dragging his legs lamely, gritting his teeth at every step and murmuring as he ran. Tang Yue is in front. As long as she is here we can survive. How can she be so stable? There is a sea of ghosts outside, and she is still leading the way. Qin Feng's face twitched. He took out 3 copper talismans from his arms and threw them to them. The runes on the talismans were hot and shimmering. There is an entrance to the tomb behind the picture frame, which leads directly to the source. But if you go in, you will escape death. The resentful spirit takes revenge through the body, and the talisman blocks it for a while. His voice was hesitant, but was interrupted by the sound of banging on the door outside. Bang. The door panel trembled, claws scraped against the iron lock, and it creaked like nails digging into a coffin. The 4 people filed in, and the stone door closed automatically, blocking out the sound of claws hitting outside. The tomb passage is narrow and damp, and reliefs appear on the walls. Zhang's wife from the Qing dynasty knelt down, drawing a ghost gate with a bloody pen in her hand. The heads of her family rolled down, rivers of blood gathered, her face was twisted, and her eyes were filled with hatred. The air was filled with the stench of feces, urine, and rotten flesh, and the feet were sticky like broken intestines. Lin Fan gasped and leaned against the wall, with blood dripping from his broken arm. He stared at the relief with wide eyes, and his voice trembled. Is this an unjust case? Zhang's wife's face is moving. Tang Yue, did you see it? It blinked. He was filled with fear, but turned around to admire. When you pushed the door open, the force field bounced me away, but you withstood it. How did you do it? The picture frame is in front, the glass has been put together completely, and the blood in the ghost gate painting is pulsating like the beating of a heart. Qin Feng pointed to a groove behind the painting. Push open. The entrance to the tomb. Tang Yue stepped forward and pressed the cold frame with both hands. The invisible force field rebounded. She gritted her teeth and resisted. The amulet was hot, and there was a click. The stone door behind the frame slid open, revealing a black hole in the tomb passage, and the rotten smell hit her face, like thousands of corpses aged. Suwan suddenly froze, the talisman burned her palms red. She screamed and pointed at the phantom ahead. Yiji! Yezi's ghost! She is crawling in the cracks, her hands are broken, please help. Save me, don't come. The hallucination struck, and a whisper sounded in Tang Yue's ears. Blood sacrifice. Join us. She shook her head to suppress it, leading Suwan forward. Hallucination. The source is in front, hold on. Qin Feng murmured. Deep, spiritual king. Psychological fear piled up. Lin Fan hugged Suwan tightly, muttering to himself in despair as he walked. Yiji's ghost. Wanwan also saw it, we are on the ghost road. But Tang Yue is leading. There is hope. The sound of shattering glass was like thousands of coffin nails exploding at the same time, and the fragments scattered like sharp ice blades, cutting through the dark air of the tomb passage and reflecting the light of blood. The ghost gate in the huge picture frame twisted and expanded, and the hideous black hole opened its mouth to the limit. There were more than a dozen living corpses crawling out of the first batch. Their bodies were mutilated, some were missing half of their faces, and the rotten muscles peeled off layer by layer, revealing the wriggling maggots and bones inside. Some were dragging broken limbs, and their knees were worn into blood. Moo Moo, whose red eyes were like red-hot charcoal, locked onto the 4 people, with sticky black blood dripping from his mouth, and made a wet grunt. Blood repicked blood. A wave of rotten odor like feces and urine mixed with corpse wax rushed towards the face. The end of the tomb passage instantly turned into a shura field, and the cold air seeped from their fingers, freezing the human bone marrow. The tomb passage gradually widened, and a faint light suddenly appeared at the end. A huge picture frame was erected as high as 2 people. The glass surface was covered with cracks, and blood shadows were tumbling inside the ghost gate. Click, the glass shattered again, the fragments rained down, and with a low roar, the first batch of living corpses crawled out of the painting, their flesh peeled off, their red eyes locked on them, they opened their black mouths and pounced. Lin Fan's scream followed closely. He flailed his broken arm, blood splashed, and hit the wall relief. Zhang's wife's hateful face seemed to come to life, and her lips moved and whispered, "Join the blood sacrifice." He hugged Suwan's waist tightly, dragging his lame leg. Every step was like stepping on a knife. Sharp, tearing pain from broken ribs, nosebleeds mixed with sweat, and his eyes were covered with sweat. He caught a glimpse of the nearest living corpse. That thing once looked like a child, with half of its face hanging down, exposing the black holes in its gums. When it pounced, its claws scratched his back, tearing open the cloth and leaving bloody marks. "Damn it! Tang Yue back there. It bit me." His voice broke from fear to hysteria, and his tall body was hunched into a ball. His muscles that were usually in the gym were trembling like waste meat, but his eyes were fixed on Tang Yue's back, full of crumbling admiration. How did you react so quickly? Just now the glass burst. You were the first to shout and run away. Otherwise we would have been bitten. Do you have night vision lights in your eyes? It's as dark as the bottom of a coffin. Run! Tang Yue's roar exploded like thunder. She was the first to react, grabbing Su Wan's arm and pulling hard. The amulet burned into charcoal in the palm of her hand. The burning pain cleared her mind and suppressed the fear surging in her heart. When those red eyes stared at her, she felt like a piece of her soul was being ripped out. In the hallucination, Yiji's rotten hand stretched out from her feet and grabbed her ankle bone. But she gritted her teeth and ignored it, her logic like an iron chain locking up the chaos. There is no way to retreat, and there is only one way to survive if you go forward to the source. She pushed Su Wan away and rushed forward. The sticky putrefaction splashed under her feet. She crushed unknown soft objects, and nausea rushed into her throat. Behind Qin Feng's palace, a skinny figure looked like a ghost. He pulled out the last yellowed ancient talisman from his arms. The talisman was twisted like a living snake, and he murmured, "Qin family soul, seal." He threw the ancient talisman, and the talisman paper rose in the wind, turning into a golden net and blocking it in front of the living corpse. With a bang, the red-eyed monster hit. The rotten flesh sizzled and burned, making the sound of exploding lard. Black blood spattered on the wall, and the face of the embossed wife was even more distorted. They roared and retreated, their claws clawing at the golden net frantically. The mesh gradually cracked and fragments fell like rain, but it temporarily blocked the pursuit. Qin Feng staggered to catch up. His face was as gray as a dead man, and the ancient jade amulet around his neck was dim. He gasped. They can't last long. They are resurrected through paintings, and the endless entrance has been sealed by the ghost gate. The four of them ran forward desperately. The tomb passage was as narrow as an intestine, the walls were cold and slippery, the tentacles were as sticky as corpse oil, and the water under their feet was as deep as their ankles. When they stepped on it, bubbles floated up and exploded, emitting the stench of feces, urine, and rotten flesh. Tang Yue's tongue was swollen like cotton from hunger and thirst, and the cold air rose from the ground, making his bones rattle with cold. Despair flashed in her mind. No way? Entrance blocked? But she suppressed it and scanned the relief for clues. Zhang's wife painted the door with blood. Is the painter a psychic? She shouted. Old man, tell me in detail. How to seal the gate of hell? Where is the law? Don't fucking show off. Her voice was as steady as a rock, piercing through Lin Fan's cries, with unquestionable leadership. When Lin Fan heard that the entrance was blocked, his head went blank. He fell to his knees, his broken arm pressed into the rotten mud. His eyes were black with pain and hallucinations came over him. Yiji's ghost crawled out from the crack in the wall, his hands were rotted into bones, grabbing his ankles and whispering, "Why don't you save me? You killed me." He shook his head and screamed, punched the wall. The relief shattered and fell stone chips, hitting his forehead and bleeding. Sealed. We are dead. Old man, you are lying. Just now you said you can go straight to the source, but now you say there is no way. He got up and rushed towards Qin Feng, limping and knocking Su Wan over. His eyes were full of anger and fear, and his protective desire turned into suspicion and frenzy. You hide it. It must have been summoned by you. Why are there only 3 talismans? Yiji is dead and Su Wan is about to turn into a corpse. You, the Qin family, are just waiting for the sacrifice. His roar echoed in the tomb passage, causing the living corpses behind to roar even louder, and the cracks in the golden net expanded, and the black claws protruded. As Su Wan was being dragged, the black marks on her shoulders had spread to her cheeks, and the veins under her skin were dancing like snakes. She was panting like a bellows, her amulet was hot on her palms, and black shadows flickered in her pupils as she murmured, "Hate, 30 bites. Cut them all." She dug her fingernail. She entered Lin Fan's arm and scratched the blood, but she was completely unaware of the coldness, which was like thousands of needles biting her bones, making her teeth chatter, and her throat burned with hunger and thirst. They had been without water for several hours before escaping into the tomb passage, and now the putrid air clogged their lungs, and every breath she took was like swallowing corpse air. When Su Wan heard that the painter is channeling, Her body stiffened and black marks appeared on her neck. She suddenly held her head and screamed, and the amulet slipped from her palm and rolled into the rotten mud. She knelt down and twitched, her skin cracked and bulged more. Black blood gushed out like a fountain, and a fishy stench hit her nostrils. She murmured the details of the injustice, her voice was no longer hers, and turned into the cry of a resentful woman. Wife Zhang, my husband painted ghost gates to channel spirits, and invited the innocent souls into the painting. Family blood. 30 people's heads rolled in front of the door, and the river of blood gathered. The glass sealed my hatred. I will lend you my body to take revenge. Her eyes were all black, with no pupils like abyss, and her shoulders were crawling like maggots. A long white worm crawled out and fell to the ground. Tang Yue's heart felt like it was falling into an ice cave. In the hallucination, Yiji's ghost shadow overlapped Su Wan's, reaching out for help. Yu? Kill her. She is the door. Hunger and thirst burned her throat, and the cold made her fingers stiff, but she forced herself forward, picked up the amulet and stuffed it back into Su Wan's palm. The burning backlash made her grit her teeth and groan. Su Wan, wake up. The painter is channeling. The soul is sealed in glass, the source is deep. Lin Fan, stop making trouble. Kill Qin Feng and we will all die. She pulled up Lin Fan's collar, her gaze like a knife, forcing him to calm down. Her calmness was like a beacon. Lin Fan's eyes widened, the pain of his broken arm was temporarily forgotten, nosebleeds dripped, he choked and backed away, his voice trembling with admiration to the extreme. Tang Yue, you are not afraid? The golden net outside is about to break. Su Wan turns into a ghost. The entrance is sealed, you still take it. I just wanted to kill the old man. Stop with a glance. What are you thinking? Do you have a radar in your head? As long as you are here we can still be saved. His knees collapsed and he hugged Su Wan's legs, crying and turning to dependents. Listen to you, old man, keep talking. But if you dare to lie, I will kill you if Tang Yue says. Qin Feng sighed, and the relief on the wall showed his wife blinking, and the fire of hatred licked the wall. He whispered. The deep soul king, resurrected through the body, and the first sacrifice is Su Wan. But to break the law, blood must be exchanged for the soul. Before he could finish his words, the golden net behind him burst apart, and living corpses came in like a tsunami, with red eyes like sparks blazing a prairie fire, black blood splattered and wet footsteps. The dense, ear-splitting roar. Blood debt, blood payment. The tomb passage shook, stone chips fell, the cold air condensed, hunger and thirst blurred everyone's vision, and hallucination struck again. Lin Fan saw Su Wanhua's giant beast bite his throat. Qin Feng turned into a withered bone and grabbed his heart. Tang Yue whispered in his ears, countless innocent souls. Fighting each other, join. Tang Yue bit the tip of her tongue, and the smell of blood awakened her will. She shouted. Go forward. Illusion. Su Wan, hold on, painter details, how about the psychic? How many times did the glass break? She held Su Wan, pushed Lin Fan, protected Qin Feng's flanks, calmly led the team to reunite. Lin Fan retreated and murmured. She is as steady as a god. When the sea of ghosts comes, she is still asking for details. Su Wan twitched and the shadow retreated. She gasped and held Tang Yue's hand. You, it said. The painter invited the soul into the glass, broke 3 times, fully opened. The Soul King came out. Her words laid the foundation. The light in the depths became brighter. The living corpse approached 5 feet, and the claws grazed Lin Fan's back, making the sound of tearing flesh. Qin Feng was knocked back 3 steps. He pressed his withered hand against the wall to steady himself. He stared at Lin Fan with turbid eyes and his voice was as hoarse as grinding bones. Idiot! The Qin family has been suppressed for generations, not summoned. The frame glass seals the wronged souls. The Qing dynasty painter Zhang's wife channeled the painting before her death. After the blood sacrifice for the whole family, the spiritual power entered the glass, and the full moon shattered to release the Spirit King's pioneer. The ghost gate at the entrance pulsated, and the stone door was locked forever, unless the Source Spirit King was destroyed. He concealed more deeply in his words, his eyes avoided Tang Yue, and the jade on his neck trembled slightly. Suspicions in the team were like sparks. Lin Fan glared at Qin Feng. 3 times? Old man, why didn't you tell me earlier? Qin Feng was silent. The hallucination made him see the withered bones of his ancestors accusing him. Hide it. The spiritual king needs to be sacrificed. The urge to kill each other surged. Lin Fan clenched his fists and shouted at Qin Feng. After swiping away, Tang Yue hugged him and shouted, "Stop! Killing him is useless." Deep down, her strength was as strong as iron. Lin Fan was stunned, the shock in his eyes deepened. "You hugged me so tightly my broken arm didn't even hurt. Tang Yue, how many times have you saved us? From the painting frame to now." Su Wan's scream was like a heartbroken ghost's cry, tearing apart the silence of the tomb passage. Her body was twisted into impossible angles in the splatter of black blood. The Spirit King rune around her neck pulsed like a red-hot iron. The blood light reflected her black eyes, swallowing the light like an abyss. Her nails suddenly grew into black hooks, and when they scratched Lin Fan's chest, the fabric shattered like paper, and the skin tore into 3 deep grooves. Blood mixed with black insect mucus spurted out, and the stench rushed straight into the nose. Lin Fan's broken ribs were already bloody. The pain was like thousands of ants gnawing at his heart. He staggered back and his back hit the wall relief. Zhang's wife's hateful face seemed to be licking his wounds, whispering, "Join the blood sacrifice." In the hallucination, Yiji's rotten hands came out of the crack at his feet, grabbing his ankle and pulling. "Su Wan! No!" Lin Fan's roar broke into a cry. His broken arm was unable to block her, so he could only use his good hand to pinch her wrist tightly. The black hooked nails were embedded in the flesh. The blood dripped down the arm, and the dripping putrefaction made a sizzling and corrosive sound. His knees softened and he knelt down. His tall body curled up like a child. His nose was bleeding and his face was covered with sweat. A desperate collapse flashed in his eyes. She bit me. Tang Yue, kill her. She is no longer Su Wan. That ruined spiritual king. We are all finished." His voice was trembling to the extreme, and the usually protective muscular man was now like a useless person. Black blood seeped into the wound on his chest, and the burning sensation made his teeth chatter. His eyes were locked on Su Wan, full of fear and self-blame. He was supposed to protect her, but his lover turned into a monster and knocked him down. Qin Feng's skinny figure retreated, and the last gleam of the ancient jade amulet around his neck flashed away. He pressed against the wall to gasp, his turbid eyes widened, and Su Wanru, who was deadlocked, saw the end. The first sacrifice. The spiritual king borrowed his body. Back away. The depths. There is only the depths. But his words were drowned by the tsunami of living corpses, and under the remains of the golden net behind him, black blood waves surged. The claws of the red-eyed monster stretched out 5 feet. Wet and greasy footsteps were as dense as a heavy rain hitting the ground. The sound of peeling rotten flesh and the whisper of blood payment were intertwined into a symphony of hell. The cold air was frosty, and the temperature of the tomb fell to a point where the bone marrow was stinging. Hunger and thirst made everyone's tongues as dry as sandpaper, and every mouthful of putrid air was like swallowing corpse wax. Tang Yue's heart felt like it was being crushed by iron pliers. When Su Wan's dark eyes looked at her, the hallucinations overlapped. Yiji's face was broken and she begged for help. "Kill her. She is the door." Her throat was burned by hunger and thirst, and her fingers were frozen by the cold, but the logic in her mind was like a tightrope. Talisman. Suppress. Source. She rushed forward, ignoring Lin Fan's cries. Her knees sank into the rotten mud. Her right hand grabbed the black mark on the back of Su Wan's neck, and the amulet in the palm of her left hand burned like coals through the skin, and the bloody pain came back. She gritted her teeth and groaned, suppressing the urge to scream, and pressed the amulet into the rune on Su Wan's neck. The scorching golden light exploded, like the sun falling into the black abyss, the rune sizzling and burning, the black blood steaming into black smoke. Su Wan's body was shaken like an electric shock. Maggots spurted out from the cracks in the skin, twisted and turned to ashes. She arched her body, black worms gushing out of her mouth, but was forced back by the golden light, letting out a vengeful roar like a pig's howl. Blood debt. 30 members of the Zhang family. Rolling head door. Glass-sealed hate. Revenge. Lin Fan's eyes widened and blood flowed from his chest. He climbed up half a step and pointed at Tang Yue with his severed arm trembling. His voice broke from fear to shock and admiration. Tang Yue, you pressed me up. She almost broke my neck with her claws just now. And you still pressed her hands when they were so hot. The amulet burned the flesh and blood in your palms, and you didn't scream in pain. Oh my God, how could you? How dare you pounce on the living corpse? What's going on in your head? His knees collapsed and tears flowed down his face. His pride as a protector collapsed, and there was nothing but worship in his eyes. Tang Yue had saved him countless times since the frame was broken, and he was as calm as iron, making him willing to cut off his arm in exchange for her strength. The resentful spirit continued to express through Su Wan's black lips, and the voice was like a chorus of thousands of ghosts echoing in the tomb. A great injustice was done in the Qing dynasty. Zhang's wife and husband, the painter, channeled spirits to invite the ghosts of the ghosts to enter the painting. The government bloodbathed the Zhang family, and beheaded 30 people. The river of blood merged in front of the door, and the heads rolled and wailed. The wife was filled with hatred. Li, the soul-sealing king. At the midnight of the full moon, he shattered and resurrected the undead, and paid for the whole clan with his blood. You touched the painting, opened the door and asked for help. The first sacrifice was for Su Wan, and the revenge continued. Su Wan's body twitched, the black smoke dissipated, and her eyes gradually returned to white, but the runes were still pulsing, and she collapsed on the ground, breathing like a bellows. The claws of the living corpse finally caught Su Wan's ankle. She screamed and the black zombie blood spattered. Suddenly, her eyes exploded with black light, and her whole body stiffened. She turned around and threw herself at Lin Fan. Black worms came out of her mouth, and her nails scratched his chest like knives. The skin on her neck split open, revealing the rune of the Twisted Soul King, and there was a lot of blood. Qin Feng's withered hands trembled and pressed against the wall. His gray face twisted and he murmured, "Suppressed, for now, but the hatred of the Spirit King has taken hold of him, and it is about to break for the second time." His eyes dodge and the withered bones of his ancestors in the hallucination point at him. "Hide it! Tell it!" The flesh and blood in Tang Yue's palms were scorched black, and the pain was like gouging out the heart. She ignored it, grabbed Su Wan's arm and glanced at Qin Feng like a knife. "Old man, tell me everything. Do you know about Zhang's wife's unjust case, the details of the painter's psychic, how to exchange blood for souls after breaking the law? What is the ancestor guarding the tomb hiding? What? The entrance is sealed. There are endless living corpses. Su Wan's first sacrifice, your Qin family sacrifice?" Her voice was steady, her vision was blurred, but she glanced at the dim light at the end of the tomb passage, and her logic locked the chaos. Interrogation, depth, destruction. Qin Feng was forced to look at him. His withered face was as pale as paper. He sighed, and the wall relief. Zhang's wife blinked and licked the blood. He lowered his head and confessed. The Qin family, descendants of the painter Zhang. Ancestors help channel spirits, seal glass to suppress, and guard tombs for generations. The spiritual king needs blood to exchange for souls. Living people sacrifice their souls into paintings, destroying the original frame. But you need to enter the core palace. The main painting of the ancient painting group is broken 3 times, and it is invincible. He took out the last copper coin-shaped ancient coin from his pocket, and the runes shimmered. This soul-suppressing coin can be used once to enter the palace. Follow me. His eyes flashed with guilt, and his hallucination fingers retreated. The living corpse came 3 feet closer, and its black claws grazed Lin Fan's back before tearing it apart. His flesh and blood rolled around and he screamed and retreated. Tang Yue roared. "Deep! Push Su Wan, protect her!" She led Su Wan forward. Lin Fan hugged Su Wan's waist and dragged her lame leg. Qin Feng threw the copper coin behind the palace. The ancient coin swelled into a light shield in the storm, slammed into the sea of living corpses. The rotten flesh burned and black blood spattered. The monster roared and retreated, its red eyes burning with hatred. The dim light shines brightly at the end of the tomb passage. The stone steps drop steeply, and everyone stumbles into the underground palace. The broad hall is like the tomb of an ancient tomb king, and the walls are densely covered with ancient paintings. The ghost gate in the painting is twisted. The glass is intact but pulsating with yin energy. The air is as sweet as corpse honey. The frost condenses on the ground. The footsteps echo in the empty space. and a whisper of blood pays is heard in the distance. The four of them collapsed in the corner of the hall, and a brief moment of tranquility fell while they were breathing heavily. The living corpse was blocked by the light shield, roaring in the distance. Burning with hunger and thirst, Tang Yue tore up her clothes and wrapped her palms with scorched flesh, taking stock of the clues. The glass was broken twice, and the remaining one was to fully open the Spirit King. Zhang's wife was unjustly convicted of 30 blood sacrifices, and the painter channeled the spirit to invite the soul to seal the hatred. The descendants of the Qin family suppressed it, breaking the law and exchanging souls with blood to destroy the main painting. She whispered. Su Wan, hold on, don't let the black mark expand. Lin Fan, hold down the chest injury. Qin Feng, the layout of the palace. Which of the ancient paintings is the owner? Her calmness was like trimming a military flag. Lin Fan stared in admiration. You take stock? The living corpse is still outside the door, and your hands are so rotten. So, you still want to break the law? Come in from the cemetery and save us 10 times. Do you have a map in your head? Otherwise, how can you get it right? He rushed over to her with tears in his eyes and said in a choked voice, After taking stock, we will kill the Spirit King. Lin Fan listened to Tang Yue's questioning and forgot about the pain in his chest. He knelt down and hugged Su Wan's legs tightly. He glared at Qin Feng and roared, Say! Tang Yue asked you, do you dare to hide it? She just pressed the Spirit King. Look at her hands. Even if they are burned to death, you still take us. Are you a descendant of the painter of the Qin family? Hidden and sacrificed to us. His voice was trembling and dependent, and Tang Yue was like a beacon in his eyes, worshipping him to the point of madness. Su Wan gradually woke up, her black eyes receded. She hugged her knees and burst into tears. The black marks on her shoulders were still swollen. Her voice was trembling and fearful. You, she lent her body to me. I hate it so much. 30 heads rolled around and I saw a river of blood. I almost killed Lin Fan. I'm sorry. She threw herself into Tang Yue's arms, crying out the cold, soul-eating fear of possessing her. The team reunited and their determination was like fire. Destroy the main painting, exchange blood for soul, and live out. Qin Feng sat cross-legged and opened the palace. A group of ancient paintings surround the main painting in the center, and the Soul King pulses to revive the dead. He handed the ancient coin to Tang Yue. You hold it to calm the soul. Lin Fan stared. Give it to her. Old man, do you recognize her leader? From suspicion to now. Tang Yue, take it, we are saved. There were dozens of pale arms bursting out from the black hole's ghost gate like rotten vines. Each one twisted at an inhuman angle. The knuckles were covered with black mold, and the nails were like sharp fish hooks. They cut through the air of the palace and made a shrill scream. The ground made of frost instantly cracked. The smell of rotten corpse honey mixed with blood penetrated the nose, making people feel sick and stomach acid. The roars of the resentful spirits. Blood sacrifice. Come. Were like thousands of insects gnawing at the bones, echoing on the roof of the hall. The ghosts and shadows in the ancient paintings on the wall blinked in unison. The pulse of the glass accelerated, and the gloomy air filled the field of vision like fog. The lighthouse-like light was swallowed into gray. While everyone was breathing, the frost under their feet cracked, and black blood seeped out from the gaps, forming a stream and licking the soles of their boots. Branch path. The secret door on the left wall. Qin Feng's skinny figure jumped up first, his voice trembling like a candle in the wind. He pointed to the cracks in the stone bricks hidden under an ancient painting in the corner of the palace, his gray face twisted into wrinkles of fear, and his cloudy eyes locked on the ghostly arm coming in. The palace is circular, and the branch path leads to the ancient books hall. Hurry! The Soul King bursts for the second time, and the ghost tide surges through the painting. The soul-suppressing coin cannot stop the full tide. His fingers trembled as he poked the wall, and the stone bricks moved away with a rumble, revealing a branch as narrow as a coffin. The entrance of the black hole spewed out putrid hot air, mixed with the howls of ghosts and wolves in the distance, like the cries of countless children. The black blood on Lin Fan's chest seeped into the wrapping, and his broken arm was hanging by his side. He jumped up with a limp leg, hugging Su Wan's waist and dragging him along. Despair flashed in his tear-stained face. Tang Yue, Within 3 feet of the ghost's hand. Su Wan's black mark swelled again, and her breathing was freezing. How can we run? The palace is endless, outside the door of the living corpse, and the ghost tide is inside. You lead? The broken leg drags the dead. His roar, the voice broke into a cry, and the tall body curled up and retreated. The arms that were usually as muscular as iron were now as soft as cotton wool, and the newly torn wounds on the back were full of blood. Every step on the frosty ground hurt like a bone. When the gaze swept over the gushing arms, the pupils shrank to needle points, and the fear was so great that the teeth chattered. It's over. It's all over. Yi Zhilan's hand is still grabbing my ankle. Now the Hellgate is open. Let's sacrifice our blood. Tang Yue held the ancient coin, and the dim light entered her palm, and the pain eased. She scanned the ancient paintings in the palace, and the ghosts in the paintings blinked, and the whispers gradually came closer. Improve your strength. You have all the clues, you have the ancient talisman coins in hand, and your team is as reliable as iron. In the silence, she whispered. Take a 5-minute rest and rush to the center. Suddenly, the frame of the Soul King's picture in the center of the palace shook violently. The glass crackled and spread, pulsing like a heart. The black hole of the ghost gate expanded. Countless ghosts' pale arms burst out and grabbed the 4 people. The resentful spirits roared. Blood sacrifice. Come. Tang Yue's palms were charred and covered with blood, and she held the soul coin tightly, and the faint light penetrated into her bones to soothe the pain. Hunger and thirst burned her throat like swallowing coals, and her limbs were frozen by the cold, but the logic in her mind was like a steel lock biting chaos. Ghosts surged, side roads escaped, ancient books were sealed, and the source was destroyed. Ignoring Lin Fan's cries, she pounced on the secret door in the corner of the hall, kicked open the stone bricks to expand the entrance, grabbed Su Wan's arm with her left hand and pulled Lin Fan out, and threw out the soul-killing coin with her right hand. The ancient coin swelled into a half-arc of light shield in the storm, slammed into the first wave of ghost arms, and the pale limbs were burned to ashes and blackened. The stumps were scattered on the ground, smoking, the roar was deafening, and the light shield held firm for 3 breaths before breaking apart. She shouted. Lin Fan drags Su Wanjin away. Qin Feng shows the way from behind. I'll break the tide after breaking. Her voice was steady through the ghost's cry, and her figure blocked the door like an iron gate. She locked her sight on the trajectory of the surging arm, and calculated her dodge. Lin Fan stared at Tang Yue with blood-red eyes, and pointed at Tang Yue with his severed arm trembling. The pain in his chest was temporarily forgotten. He climbed up lamely, grabbed Su Wan by the waist and rushed into the branch road. His voice changed from despair to horror and admiration. Tang Yue, you threw the coin to block the arm. The light shield burned the ghost's hand and flew into ashes. Your palm was reduced to charcoal and it was broken. There are dozens of ghosts. How can you calculate the trajectory accurately? From broken paintings to palaces, you saved us 20 times. Are you crazy? Night vision. Otherwise, how can you not be afraid of death when the king of pressures attacks? His eyes were full of pride and worship, and he turned around and yelled, Listen to her. After she said it, we believe it. Tang Yue, you are our lamp. Qin Feng's withered face was as pale as corpse paper. He threw himself behind the Jidao Hall, and pushed Tang Yue back through the door with trembling hands. His cloudy eyes flashed with guilt and shock. Girl, you used half of your strength to block the tide of the soul coin. No one in the Qin family dared to break the throne. But your palm is stained with blood and the coin is still sound. Follow you. The ancient books are at the end of the branch, and the cursed fragments of the Qing dynasty are broken. His voice trembled to a broken voice, and the hallucination ancestral bone finger retreated. He gritted his teeth and shook off the remaining talisman ashes in his sleeves. The door was sealed with a faint light, and the black arm slammed into the door with a loud bang, and the sound of cracking stone bricks was like bone explosion. The branch road is as narrow as a coffin buried alive. For people are crawling against the wall. The air is rotten and sticky. The walls are embossed with the ghosts of Zhang family. Every hateful face blinks and licks blood, and black juice drips from the tip of the tongue. The stream of black blood under the feet accelerates and licks the ankles. The howls of ghosts and wolves seep out from the 4 walls, as low as the cry of a baby and the howl of a pig. echoing in the brain and devouring the soul. Frost condenses on the wall, cracking the skin when it touches it. Hunger and thirst make the tongue swell like a corpse, and the throat feels like sand when swallowing. The sound of each step amplifies into a roaring heartbeat. A living corpse roars through the wall in the distance, and the red eyes flash. Suwon collapsed in Lin Fan's arms, and the black marks on her shoulders squirmed like living insects burrowing through the skin. She hugged her knees and panted, her dark eyes flashing with tears, and she murmured, "Ice? It's coming again. Hate the blood of the river. Get your head out. Leave me. Drag." Her fingertips accidentally she scratched Lin Fan's arm, drawing shallow blood marks. Black blood mixed with tears dripping down, turning into smoke. As her body twitched, the pulse of the runes on her neck accelerated. The bulge split open, and the white worm twisted out and then retracted. In the hallucination, she saw Zhang's wife licking her lips with a bloody face. "Second sacrifice. Take advantage of me." Qin Feng panted in front of him to lead the way. His withered back arched like a shrimp. He explained in a trembling voice. "The hatred of the Spirit King is rooted in the river of blood, and the weak points are pure and untainted. A living person sacrifices his soul into the main painting, and the blood exchanges for the hate to be eliminated. But it requires a voluntary pure spirit. The Qin family has tried for generations, but no one has succeeded. In ancient times, no one succeeded. The remaining scroll records the ritual, and the branch path ends in the left niche. But the ghost cries and gnaws at the heart, and the hallucination kills people." His eyes flashed with fear, and he turned to see Suwon's black mark spreading to her collarbone, and the swollen body sprayed white insects. "She is approaching for the second time. Lin Fan, press her mark." Tang Yue stood behind the formation. Her soul coin pulsed in the palm of her hand. She scanned the patterns of the reliefs and made a logical inventory. Branch paths encircling the palace, ancient books sealing curses, and asking about the weaknesses of the Spirit King. She roared. "Qin Feng, the weakness of the Spirit King. How can you offer a pure soul sacrifice? Where are the ancient books hidden? Suwon's black marks are spreading, hold on." Her calmness was like a blade, ignoring the black arm that reached through the gap in the wall and scratched her shoulder, scratching her sleeves and bleeding. Lin Fan dragged Suwon to crawl. Her arms were broken and weak. He tore off her clothes and pressed hard on her neck, leaving black marks on her neck. His hands were stained with blood, and his voice collapsed with fear. "Suwon!" The mark expanded 3 inches. The bulging insect came out, and it bit my finger. "Tang Yue, did you hear Mr. Qin say pure soul sacrifice? Who sacrificed it? In our hunger and cold hallucination, who is innocent? Yiji is still holding me back, and now Suwon is in trouble." His knees hit the wall and he turned to worship Tang Yue. "But you are holding back your arms. Why are you not afraid of hallucinations? You lead from the cemetery, we all rely on you to calm down. You are so stupid. Otherwise, how can you ignore the ghost's cry?" The branch road twists and turns like an intestine. The ghosts cry more and more. The wall reliefs come to life. Zhang Jihan's hand reaches out from the wall to grab her hair. Tang Yue suddenly dodges, dragging Suwon forward, ignoring the blood flowing from his claws grazing his arm. Visions of hunger and thirst came over suddenly. The vision was distorted. The ghosts of her parents appeared. Her father had a gray face and no eyes, and her mother had rotten lips dripping with pus. He stood in front of her, piercing his heart with his finger bones. "Curiosity killed you. When I was a child, I played by the grave and lured the wolf to night. Suwanji Lin Fan, damn it. You've harmed everyone."
Suicide.
The dead souls of her parents merged into a blood mass and rolled towards her ankles, biting into the scorched palms. She was in pain like a soul, and she was on the verge of a mental collapse. The logic in her mind was shattered. Wrong. Kill someone out of curiosity. Sacrifice your soul to me? Suwon twitched and moaned. The black marks were as hot as searing. She grabbed Lin Fan's arm and cried, "Lin Fan! It hurts. It says blood will pay for the whole clan. I look at the head of the blood river. Ye a save." Her black pupils flashed, and the cracks in her shoulders were filled with black blood. She imagined Zhang's wife smiling. "Borrow Quan."
Tang Yue.
Lin Fan turned around and yelled, pulling her leg with his broken arm. "Stop! Your face is as white as a ghost. You are kneeling down and murmuring yourself? Illusion of your parents. Mr. Qin said that ghosts cry and gnaw at the heart. You have been tricked. Get up. What should we do? Your leader will fall, we will die. His eyes widened and fear turned to frenzy, and he jumped back with a limp and grabbed his arm. You have survived the pressure of the Soul King's burning hands. What is the hallucination? Kill your parents' ghost. Listen to me? No, you lead, we listen to you. Wake up. Qin Feng put his withered hand on her shoulder, and the ashes of the talisman scorched her awake. Girl, a pure soul does not believe in illusions. The ancestor of the Qin family died here. His voice trembled with admiration. You, the queen, will save me. Without you, there is no way out. Tears welled up in Suwan's black eyes and she grabbed Tang Yue's hand. You, I caused you to be hallucinated. The black mark expanded, throw me away. Her cry was dependent, and the team's eyes were like fire. Tang Yue gritted her teeth and tore apart the phantom of her parents' blood mass, and the coins in her palm exploded, painfully awakening her logic. Illusionary murderous intention, ancient book. Charge. She pulled the crowd forward, her voice as steady as iron. The roar of the zombie leader was like the explosion of a hell volcano, causing the luss on the top of the niche to rustle and fall. Every particle of dust was wrapped in the smell of black blood, and hit everyone's shoulders like rotten insects. Its body is more than 3 meters tall, with layers of rotten muscles like toad skin. The Soul King runes on its chest pulse like the beating of a heart. The red and black light pierces the mist. Every time it jumps, the black bloodstream around it boils and surges, spraying out semi-solidified blood bubbles. When it bursts, it emits a sharp cry like a baby. The rotten corpse stench in the air is so strong that it can pinch water. It penetrates into the nasal cavity and burns the lungs, making the thirsty throat feel like swallowing sulfur. Its black claws are 5 feet long, with green pus dripping from the hook end. Every time it is swung, the vengeful souls in the wall relief all twist their faces, and their hateful hands stretch out from the stone and grab into the air, as if to cheer for the leader. The howls of ghosts and wolves are superimposed on top of each other, turning into an invisible sound blade, splitting the brain. Everyone's eardrums are buzzing and bloodshot phantoms appear at the edges of their vision. Suwan's scream suddenly stopped, her body arched into a shrimp shape, black blood spurted out from the cracks in her collarbone, splashing on the cloth on Lin Fan's chest, dying old wounds and new blood flowing together. Her pupils were completely black like a bottomless abyss. A sly smile spread out from the corners of her mouth, and a murmur squeezed out of her throat. Blood? Sacrifice. The whole clan. First super. Get out. Her nails suddenly grew into black thorns and stabbed at Lin Fan's waist, creating a gap that was deep enough to see the bone. Blood spurted out, and white insects squirted into the wound in the steaming heat. Lin Fan screamed and retreated, his broken arm unable to block, and his lame leg fell to his knees. The stream of black blood licked his knees, burning like acid etching flesh. Lin Fan's face twisted into a look of despair, tears and blood welling up from the corners of his eyes. He tightly hugged Suwan with both arms to suppress it. The pain in his chest was like a hammer hitting his heart. The sound of cracking old bones could be heard as the broken arm was hanging. His roar broke into a cry. Suwan, my eyes are all black. It's stabbing me in the waist and piercing my heart.
Tang Yue.
The living corpse king is blocking the ancient book. How can we seize it? Blood sacrifice. Mr. Qin, you have been guarding the tomb for generations, and no one has succeeded in offering pure souls. What should we mortals do? His tall body curled up into a ball, and the muscles of his usually iron arms were twitching like mud. His pupils shrank into rice when he glanced at the living corpse leader's red eyes. He was so frightened that his teeth chattered. The blood from his waist injury merged into the black stream, and the frost crackled under his feet. He stepped back on his knees with self-abandonment and collapse flashing in his eyes. Tang Yue, run. You led us here, that's enough. I can't hold her down, she bites my neck. Qin Feng's skinny figure clung to the wall and trembled like a broken leaf in the wind. His turbid eyes were locked on Suwan's black pupils, his gray face was wrinkled in deep fear, and the remaining talisman in his sleeve was all gray and powerless. He murmured, "Second sacrifice. Full borrowing of the body. Zhang's wife hates her soul. Fragments of ancient books. Pure soul offering. But the leader's chest talisman protects the body, and the soulless coin cannot stop it. He poked the yellow paper on the niche shelf with his finger, but was blocked by it. The leader of the living zombies swiped his black claws and severed 2 fingers. The severed finger spurted blood and rolled into the black stream, where they melted. He screamed in pain and shrank his hands. In the hallucination, the bones of his grandfather stretched out his claws from the relief on the wall and grabbed his throat. "You're damned for concealing it. My parents are devouring me again." Qin Feng's knees were weak and his voice trembled to the point of breaking. "Girl, retreat. There is no way out at the end of the branch road. The Soul King's pulse is broken once. The gate of hell is open and invincible." Tang Yue's mind was surging like wild waves. Hunger and thirst burned the root of his tongue like coals of fire, and the blackened cloth on his palm seeped blood into the soul coin. His peripheral vision pulsed with pain, but the frost froze his limbs, and every breath of rancid air was like swallowing a razor blade. The chaos before his eyes was like a web. Su Wan's black blood splattered, Lin Fan's waist and intestines were extroverted, Qin Feng's severed finger was bleeding. The leader of the living corpses was locked with red eyes, and the ancient book's yellow paper with blood-stained words "Wrong souls are cursed, pure souls exchange for hate" was floating on the shelf. The dim light was alluring but out of reach. The inner game is like 2 armies confronting each other. On one side is the dark tide of despair. Curiosity hurts people, touching the abyss of the palace from the picture frame. Yiji's corpse is stretched at the ankles. Su Wan changes the family, Lin Fan is disabled, Qin Feng conceals it. All because of her leading the way. The parents' hallucinations gnaw away at self-blame. Suicide to atone, let them live. The thought is like a poisonous snake entangled in the heart. Pure soul offering. I am Wu Gu. Sacrifice in exchange for hatred. But on the other side, the logical steel lock bites the chaos. The source is destroyed, the 3-time rule is broken, the ancient book takes the first step. The weak point of the living corpse is pulsating, the soul coin is half-strength, the branch road is a circular side tomb retreat, and Su Wan is half-attached to provide clues. Fear gnawed at her soul. Su Wan's usual smile flashed through her mind. Lin Fan's protective arms, gritting his teeth and crushing the self-abandonment Kuroshio. "No. Retreat and die, seize the ancient book and reverse it. I am a lamp, they believe in me, hold on." Ignoring Lin Fan's cry, she swooped forward 3 steps and threw the soul coin out of her palm. The ancient coin, swollen into a half-moon of light blades in the storm, buzzed in the air and pierced the chest talisman of the leader of the living corpse. The collision of red and black light caused sparks to fly. The leader roared and leaned back. Black claws, she smashed the wall relief with random swings, and the blood mist burst into the enemy's hand. However, the light blade only cut off a corner of the rune, and the remaining light burst back into Tang Yue's palm. New scorch marks burned deep into her bones. She groaned and gritted her teeth, her eyes locked on the red-eye blind spot of the leader. She swung her left claw in the air for 3 breaths. She roared. "Lin Fan! Press Su Wan's black thorn." Qin Feng's severed finger is sprinkled with ashes on the wall relief, attracting the hateful hands to attack. The right wall of the side tomb is cracked. "I will retreat." Her voice was steady and roaring, her figure flashed under her left paw like a ghost, and she picked up Qin Feng's severed finger covered in blood and ashes with her right hand, and threw it towards the wall. At the end of the branch path, a faint light suddenly appeared in the left niche. There were fragments of ancient books floating on the shelf, with yellow paper and blood words, "The wrong souls are cursed, and the pure souls exchange hatred." However, in front of the niche, there were dark shadows, the leader of the living corpse blocking the way. He was a 3-meter-tall rot king, with red eyes like lamps, pulsing Soul King runes embedded in his chest, 5-foot-long black claws, and the roar shook the dust from the niche. Su Wan suddenly screamed, her body arched, black marks exploded and black blood spurted out, her pupils were completely black, and she murmured, "Blood sacrifice." All. Lin Fan's blood-red eyes widened, and the pain in his waist and intestines was like fire. He hugged Su Wan and pressed the black thorn to the ground. His severed arm trembled and pointed at Tang Yue. Fear turned to shock and he worshipped. "Tang Yue, you flicked the coin and cut the talisman with your light blade. Your palm was burned and you hit the blind spot? The blood ash of your severed finger led to the relief attack." How can you count 3? A gap? From the ghost wave pressing on the arm to the hallucination tearing the parents apart. Is your brain a night vision map? We listen to you. His tears and blood flowed wildly, and he pressed down on Su-won on his knees, yelling at Qin Feng. Old man. She said a flank attack. Tang Yue Lighthouse, we believe it. Tang Yue took advantage of the opportunity to rush up to the leader's rotten leg. And the embers of the palm coin pierced the crack in the chest talisman light explosion. Half of the rune was shattered. The leader roared and swung his claws at Lin Fan's shoulder, sending him flying into the wall. There was a muffled sound of bones cracking. Lin Fan vomited blood and broke 3 ribs. He was convulsing in a pool of blood with his waist and intestines turned out. He screamed miserably. Tang Yue, I blocked the way. The ancient book is yours. But she had already jumped up to grab the fight. She started with the yellow paper of the ancient book, and the bloody words burned in her palms like fire. She opened the first page and recited in a low voice. The curse of the wronged soul. The pure soul enters the painting. The hatred disappears in the exchange of blood. After the spell was exported, the light on the niche rose sharply, the leader's chest talisman dimmed, and the black bloodstream retreated 3 inches, but the curse was stuck halfway. Lack of spiritual power. Her pure soul was pure and innocent, but she was devoured by hunger and cold. The black tide in her mind counterattacked, and she blamed herself like needles. Failure? Not enough sacrifice? If everyone dies, I will atone for it? Qin Fengku's face was pale and trembling. He gritted his teeth and spilled blood and ashes all over the wall. The embossed ghosts roared in support, and their hands of hatred were like vines wrapped around the leader's rotting body. The sound of cracking flesh was endless. His cloudy eyes flashed with guilt and admiration. Girl! No one in the Qin family dares to attack the leader. You use half a coin to cut the talisman, and the blood and ashes are used to hate. The ancient book is close. He kicked the crack on the side wall, revealing the black hole of the side tomb, and the hot air sprayed out the rotten smell. The leader Fu Shai roared angrily. His black claws exploded and his hateful hands wrapped around him. He locked Tang Yue with red eyes, and the ancient book dimmed. She shouted. Back to the side tomb. Su-won holds down. Dragging Lin Fan's broken arm and dragging him away, Qin Feng pushed Su-won's black body from behind. The 4 people crawled into the side tomb. The side tomb is as narrow as a corpse coffin. The blood river relief on the wall is rolling. The air is as sticky as corpse oil, and the black blood shoals under the feet are licking the ankles and burning the skin. With every breath, ghosts cry and moan directly into the brain, and the edge of hallucination emerges. The blood mass of the parents reappears, gnawing on the palms and whispering soul redemption. Lin Fan was curled up in a pool of blood, with his broken ribs stabbing his lungs and coughing up black blood. He grabbed Tang Yue's legs and cried, Tang Yue, you seized the ancient book. Recite the curse to retreat from the bloodstream. Half of the talisman is broken. How come you don't have enough spiritual power? Your pure soul is the most innocent, and your parents are still alive. We are stained with blood and hate. God, you burned your palms 3 times to save us, but we are dead without you. His eyes were full of worship, and the pain was forgotten, and he stared at the yellow paper with tears and blood. Qin Feng knelt down and wrapped his severed finger. His withered face twisted with guilt. He lowered his head to reveal the secret, his voice trembling like tears. Girl! The Qin family cursed. My parents. At midnight when the moon was full, the spirit king devoured the eyes. The father's seal was shattered, the mother's pure soul was sacrificed, the soul of hatred came back, and the blood the head of the river licks their corpses and invites me to guard you. I hide it from you because no one can offer it. But you. Seize the title and recite the cursed Qin family lamp. His muddy tears welled up, and the imaginary parents' rotten faces faded away, and he turned to worship and gritted his teeth. Follow you, destroy the source. Su-won's black eyes flickered, she bowed and twitched, the black blood stopped at her collarbone, and she murmured clues to wake up. Yeah, it said, the heart of the tomb, the main painting of the Soul King, the source of the blood river, behind the door. Her black thorns retracted, pointing to Lin Fan's waist injury, and she burst into tears. Lin Fan, I'm sorry. Wife Zhang Lin me. Point to the heart of the tomb. The pure soul enters the main painting. In exchange for hatred, Tang Yue masters the ancient book, and the psychological game reignites. Failure hurts the heart? Lack of spiritual power?
Pure sul voluntarili.
I offer it. But Su Wan's clues ruined the source. Hungry and cold gnawed at her body, she growled lowly. Lin Fan, wrap up your waist to stop the bleeding. Qin Feng, go to the grave. Su Wan, hold on and tell the truth. We will not sacrifice our lives to destroy the Soul King. Her calmness was as solid as iron, and everyone's eyes depended on the fire. Lin Fan pressed down and worshipped. Qin Feng knelt down and promised, and Su Wan held hands and cried. The black mist behind the tomb door surged out like a living thing. It was as thick as boiled corpse oil. It made a greasy popping sound when the sticky threads were pulled. Each wisp of mist burned the skin like acid corrosion, drilling into the pores and eating into the bone marrow. The air turned to black glue in an instant, and the pressure in my lungs was so intense that my thirsty throat felt like swallowing a piece of lead, and I coughed up blood mixed with green pus. The blood river relief on the ground came to life. 30 Qing dynasty heads rolled down from the wall, bouncing and crawling. Each head's eye socket was sunken into a black hole, and its rotten lips writhed and uttered a cry of injustice. Blood debt? Blood payment? Accompany me. They rolled against everyone. On the lower legs, the cold hair was pulled around the ankles, and the sound of bones echoed like thousands of ghosts knocking on the door. The black blood pool under the feet was boiling and boiling. When the blood bubbles exploded, they released the rotten sweet corpse fragrance. The blood mixed with rust rushed straight to the forehead, distorting the vision into a blood-red vortex. Yiji's ghost was the first to crawl out of the center of the fog. Her body was rotted into translucent flesh. Her face was sunken as if it had been eaten by a wild dog. Her left eye was hanging out of the socket, and her bloodshot threads were pulled into a whip to suck out the air, making a snapping sound. The 5 fingers of her bloody hand were broken into hooks, and she yanked Tang Yue from the ankle bone. Maggots squeezed out from the rotten flesh and twisted into the skin. She whispered in a bone-grinding voice. Sister Yue, come and accompany me. You led us to the cemetery, touched the broken door, and made me bury the corpse alive. Kill Su Wan, she is the second door. Reunion. You will never be alone in the river of blood. Hallucinations flooded his brain like a tide. Tang Yue's knees softened and he knelt down, with the ancient book in his palm. The yellow paper was as hot as a soldering iron. Yiji's rotten face enlarged in front of her eyes, and the blood of her parents undead emerged from behind, gnawing at her burned palms and whispering, sacrifice your soul to atone. Kill your friend out of curiosity. Pure soul destroys itself in exchange for hatred. The black tide of self-blame surged. Hunger and cold phantoms gnawed like thousands of needles piercing her heart. The blood of Yiji's shoes, Su Wan's black pupils, and Lin Fan's intestines flashed in her mind, and she screamed in despair. No, I harmed people. I will redeem them all with death. Lin Fan's miserable roar exploded the side of the tomb, and the wound on his waist and intestines exploded into a swarm of white worms in his hallucination. The worms crawled all over Su Wan's black body, penetrated into the cracks of her collarbone, and tore her into a bloody mist. Su Wan's ghostly head rolled down in front of his feet, staring with dark eyes and vomiting blood from his rotten lips. Lin Fan, you protect me, can't hold back. The waste worm bites my heart. I'll go first. You left me to save yourself and now you regret it. His broken arm was filled with fishhook barbs of black blood, and the kneecap of his lame leg was cracked and turned outward. In the pool of blood, he curled up into a fetal position, tears and blood spurted out of his face. His broken ribs stabbed his lungs and he coughed out black lumps, and every time he coughed, phantom worms came out of his mouth. Climbing out and twisting, he clutched Su Wan's legs and shouted, Su Wan, don't die. The bugs will eat your heart. Tang Yue ruined our expedition and summoned ghosts. I can't hold him back. The pain in my waist ate my soul, my broken arm hooked itself into the neck. It's over. We deserve to die with our dirty blood. Tang Yue's pure soul should be sacrificed. Mr. Qin, here comes your ancestral spirit. Take my corpse. His tall body was convulsing like an epilepsy, and the muscles of his usually iron arms were turned into mud. When he glanced at Yiji's rotten hands, his pupils shrank into needlepoints. He was so frightened that his teeth were loose, and blood sprayed on Qin Feng's face. Old man, The hallucination is real. Su Wan's ghost head bites me. I can't retreat. Commit suicide. Qin Feng's withered body slammed into the blood river relief, and the blood and ashes of his severed fingers were all gone. His hallucination was the most ferocious. His grandfather's withered bones burst out from the wall relief, more than 5 meters high. The Spirit King runes on his chest pulsed, and the rotten claws scratched his throat and roared. Conceal the Qin family's crimes. The blood of my parents is rolling down my head. I eat your eyes. The descendants of the painter have no pure souls, and they should be destroyed for generations. The corpses of Qin Feng's parents crawled out of the fog, and the pure souls of his mother's face were repelled. Half of his head was hollow and brains were dripping. After his father's seal was broken, his tongue stretched out and whipped him in the face. The crackling sound was like thunder, and he knelt on the pool of blood. He was banging his head in the middle. His gray hair was messy and stained with blood. His cloudy eyes turned white and he vomited foam. Grandpa, forgive me. The blood mass of my parents gnawed at my legs. The Qin family has no lights, and the girl's pure soul was sacrificed to destroy the source. I should have concealed it. Lin Fan was right. Tang Yue led the way and harmed everyone. Retreated to the side of the tomb and sealed the door to self-immolate. Go. His voice trembled like a ghost crying. The ancient jade amulet in his sleeve shattered into ashes. The phantom claws dug into his shoulders and tore the flesh. Blood sprayed on the wall, causing more heads to roll to bite his ankles. He curled up and shouted. Too strong. The phantom source of the tomb heart has no solution. The Soul King pulses to suck the soul. We are blood sacrifices. Su Wan's convulsions intensified, and as her black eyes flickered, Zhang's wife's resentment was fully revealed. Her collarbone exploded before her eyes, and a river of black blood poured into her lungs, turning the 3 roommates into leaders of living zombies. They all grabbed their black claws. Yeah? Lin Fan. I'm gone. Second sacrifice, take full advantage of the body. Bloodworms are born from me. Kill me to stop the hatred. Her black thorns exploded, and her long thorns rattled the gravel. Pointing her nails were broken and black pus spurted out, and tears and blood mixed with black blood gushed out from her black pupils. She threw herself into Lin Fan's arms and cried. Lin Fan! Illusion, you are a waste bug. Yijilan holds my hand. Zhang's wife said I would be the first sacrifice, pure soul Tang Yue for me. I'm sorry. Dragging the whole world down. Her timid loyalty was shattered in the illusion. Her usually gentle face was twisted into a ghost. Her legs were weak and she knelt in a pool of blood, letting her head roll over and bite the rotten flesh of her calf. Lin Fan gritted his teeth, tore the cloth around his intestines and roared in pain. Tang Yue, go to the grave. We listen to your curse to retreat from the stream. If you rebel against despair, we will survive. Qin Feng pointed to the hidden door with the blood river relief on the wall, pushed open the crack in the stone with his withered hand, and the rotting wind spurted out. The heart of the tomb is here. But the door to the tomb opened, and endless hallucinations came like a flood. Yiji's rotten-faced ghost crawled out of the black mist, clutching her ankle with bloody hands, and murmured with rotten lips. Kill her. She is the door. Come and accompany me. Tang Yue knelt in the pool of blood. The ancient book's yellow paper burned into her palms and the pain was like fire, and the black tide surged in her mind. The door was shattered by curiosity. Yi buried the dead body alive. Su Wan used her body as a black sacrifice. Lin Fan was crippled and crippled. Qin Feng's ancestral curse swallowed her. Was it all because she led the street lamp to go out? My parents' blood mass gnaws on their palms to sacrifice souls. Suicidal thoughts are like poisonous hooks in my heart. Pure souls voluntarily. I have enough spiritual power? But the logic is locked tightly to chaos. The law of hallucinations comes from the same origin. Yijilan's face repeatedly pulls the ankles of the forbidden tomb. Kill her is the door. The heart of the mist pulses like a whisper before the glass of the picture frame is broken. The faint crystal light flashes in the center of the black mist. The head of the relief of the blood river is twisted simultaneously. The embers of the soul coin are slightly warm in the palm to guide. The source of the heart of the tomb is broken before the illusion is destroyed. Su Wan's clue is, the main painting is behind the blood river gate. The blood character in the ancient book, hate is exchanged for blood and disappears, requires sufficient strength. If it retreats, it will be completely destroyed. Hold the lamp to reverse the situation. She bit the tip of her tongue and sprayed blood into her throat, suppressing the dark tide of self-blame. She was as calm as an ice blade cutting through fear, and she growled in her heart. No. The source of illusion is destroyed, the vision is clear to see the Spirit King, the source is destroyed. Ignoring Yijilan's hands pulling her ankles and tearing her skin, she swung the embers of the soul-suppressing coin in her palm. The ashes surged into the mist and turned into a rain of silver needles, piercing the black mist with a buzzing sound and hitting the crystal in the center of the mist. The crystal hangs high at the source of the blood river, and inside the fist-sized crystal is the rolling shadow of countless resentful spirits, pulsing like a heart, sucking an array of soul with every beat. The collision of silver needles erupted with sparks of white light, crystal cracks spread, and the black shadows inside roared and twisted. Yiji's ghost burst into blood mist for the first time, and his parents' blood mass turned into smoke and dissipated. The mist rolled back as if it was being vacuumed, and the head rolled and crashed and shattered into ashes. The ghost's cry stopped abruptly, leaving only the echo of buzzing. Tang Yue jumped up and kicked the hidden wall of the blood river relief, revealing the crystal base. She slapped the crystal surface with yellow paper from the ancient book, and recited the second page of the residual curse. The source of hatred is broken. The soul chain is broken. The blood river dries up. After the spell was exported, the blood words on the yellow paper burned through the new scorch marks and deep bones in the palm of the hand, and the crystal exploded. The fragments splashed like a rain of knives, cutting everyone's arms and legs and dripping blood. But the illusion was completely broken, and the vision suddenly became clear deep in the heart of the tomb. The main painting of the Soul King emerged, and the glass of the 10-meter-high frame pulsated and cracked for the last time. Lin Fan raised his head with pain in his waist and intestines. His broken ribs stabbed his lungs and he coughed up blood. He stared at Tang Yue's figure with blood-red eyes. The fearful ghost turned around and worshipped in shock. Tears and blood poured out wildly. Tang Yue, you threw the embers and needles to pierce the mist heart crystal? Kicked the base of the relief and recited the incantation. The second page exploded. Yiji's smashed hand disappeared. Suwan's ghost head was shattered into ashes. My waist, the insects are retreating. The source of your night vision is from the black tide? You're like a god. The lighthouse is invincible. We, the blood-stained wastes, obey the orders. He kneeled down on Suwan's legs and stood up with a trembling leg. He pointed at the Soul King's painting. Look, the real body is pulsing and the glass is broken once. We are bleeding. Qin Feng's face was pale and contorted. The bones of his ancestors disappeared in smoke, and the blood from his severed fingers stopped splattering with ashes. He knelt down to worship Tang Yue's burning palm, his muddy tears welling up in worship and fervor, and his voice trembled into sobs. Girl, no one in the Qin family has broken the illusion source for generations. You have a gray needle to lock the crystal with your remaining coins, and the embossed Inji ancient book photo. The curse exploded? The corpses of the parents were gone, and the grandfather scratched his throat and flew away. The pure soul was burnt to the bone. Follow the soul-destroying King Yuan, and we will pay for it with blood. He threw up his torn sleeves and wrapped his waist, his gray hair stained with blood, and he gritted his teeth and said, Go to the back of the painting. The black tide of despair flooded the door of the tomb like a tsunami. The four people blamed each other and cried, and the impulse to kill each other broke out. Lin Fan broke off his arm and waved at Tang Yue and shouted, You are harming me. Qin Feng grabbed Suwan's leg and stop it. Suwan stabbed in chaos. The air is stabbing. Yijilan's hands are pulling the ankles into a lock. Ghosts are crying. Heads are rolling in the melee. Blood mist fills the field of vision. Hunger and cold are devouring souls, and psychological collapse is on the verge of collapse. Everyone's brain is buzzing like thousands of ghosts knocking, and the shadow of death is overwhelming. Suwan's black eyes flashed awake, her black thorns shrunk and the blood marks faded. She bowed and cried and threw herself at Tang Yue. Her timid face was filled with tears and blood. She scratched her burning palms and murmured, Yeah, I want you to kill me. You can save me. Zhang's wife retreated a little. The clues are clear. The Soul King draws blood from the river, and the broken glass finally summons the army. The pure soul enters the painting and changes, but you destroy the source first. Her loyalty burned, and she turned from timid to determined. She grabbed Lin Fan's arm and said, "Lin Fan, wrap up the wounds in you. Let's live together." The team reunited in blood. Their will was as strong as iron in the hunger, cold and stench. Tang Yue took the lead calmly. The broken pages of the ancient book were still warm in her palms. She roared. "Crystal shattered, the king of vision is weak." The river of blood flows southward, destroying the source of the painting. Everyone's eyes depended on the fire. Lin Fan stood on his knees and yelled, "Fight with blood! Tang Yue's lamp will not be extinguished." The rotting footsteps of the army of living corpses were like thundering hell drums, and the sound of cracking bones and trampling lusts resounded throughout the circular palace. The remaining talisman on the chest of each 3-meter-long corpse pulsated with red light, and the black claws were raised high to tear the air and let out a wet roar. The rotten flesh was thrown from the broken ribs and rained blood. The leader of the living zombies is resurrected. The body of the 4-meter-high rot king is covered with hundreds of layers of mangy skin. The chest symbol is intact and bursts with red light like a blood sun. The fishhook giant arm swings and smashes the side wall. The gravel is like a cannonball and blasts everyone. More heads roll out from the wall niches and bite the legs and ankles. The source of the blood river boils and sprays rotten sweet corpse juice. It merges into the pulsating glass of the main painting of the Soul King. The cracks finally spread like a spider web. The black hole in the ghost gate expands 10 meters. Half of the fishtail hook of the pale giant arm was extended, and the red-eyed spirit king's real body roared loudly and shattered the eardrums. Blood, to pay for. The Qin family. For betrayal. For the painter. For the soul. For the whole door to be shattered. Lust fell across the tomb and the boulders roared. The black tide of death swallowed up the heart of the tomb like a tsunami. Hunger, cold and putrid souls were devoured. The circle of endless footsteps shrank to 5 meters. Everyone entered the hidden gate with their backs to the blood river, and there was no light. Qin Feng's withered body rushed to the front line. His gray hair and blood-stained eyes were locked on the tide of living corpses. The fragment of the ancient jade amulet at the bottom of his sleeve shattered into pieces in his palm. The blood and ashes melted into silver powder. He roared heartbreakingly. The Qin family's blood debt. The ancestor painter betrayed Zhang's wife. Invite the souls of enemies into the glass to seal their hatred, but offer 30 blood rivers. The old man protects the road. The girl destroys the source. The silver powder rose into the air and turned into a wall of light. It buzzed like 10,000 swords and pierced the corpse forward. The leader's fishhook arm hit the wall and cracked, causing sparks to fly in front of the army of living corpses. 10 bodies in the platoon exploded into blood mist and mud, but the light wall cracked instantly. 3 of Qin Feng's severed fingers spurted blood and he knelt down. His chest was torn open by the aftermath of the hook arm, and his heart was twitching. He vomited black foam and rolled into the river of blood. His gray hair was wrapped around his head and he bit his neck and whispered, "The talisman is gone. Qin family crime. The girl's pure soul is exchanged. Our dirty blood can't stop it." His sacrifice was for 3 seconds to breathe, and the tide of living corpses came again, with black claws grabbing the air and snapping the wind. The head rolled against his withered legs and gnawed at the rotten flesh of his withered legs, and the river of blood poured into his wounds and burned like acid. Lin Fan was lame, his knees were weak, his waist was broken, his intestines were broken. He hugged Su Wan's body with black thorns and faint marks. His broken ribs stabbed his lungs and coughed up blood mist on his face with every breath, and his usual iron arm muscles were rotted into mud. He supported Su Wan on his knees and his body was trembling. Tears and blood surged and he locked onto Tang Yue's burning palm figure and shouted, "Su Wan!" The black thorns shrank and held on. Old Qin's talisman burst forward, but the army's thundering feet are endless. Tang Yue Lighthouse, we are useless and can't keep up. The waist and intestines are gnawing pain, the broken leg bones are shattered. Forget about biting your tongue. You are the god of night vision and destroy the source. We worship and wait for death. Su Wan's black eyes flashed awake, her timid face twisted into a ghost. The blood marks on her collarbone were light, but black blood bulged again, and continuous hallucinations broke out. The relief of the blood river came to life in front of her. 30 heads of the innocent souls of the Qing dynasty rolled out, hanging in the air with rotten faces, and half of Zhang's wife's brain was dripping dark. Eye socket stared at her and growled. Second sacrifice. Su Wan borrowed the body door to open. The painter Qin Zhu betrayed, invited my husband to channel the ghost door, and sealed the hatred glass but offered Zhang family's blood river to behead him for 30 years. The government slaughtered him because of his corrupt official seal, and I owe you the blood debt. Kill Tang Yue's pure soul to stop the hatred. The wronged souls collectively whipped her face with their tongues and slapped the blood marks, and the head bit her clavicle and the black thorns grew. She collapsed and threw herself at Lin Fan, screaming with tears and blood spurting from her throat. Lin Fan, accused by the innocent soul. The painter Qin family betrayed the massacre. 30 blood river heads of the Zhang family. My second door is fully open, black blood pours into my lungs. Ye's pure soul replaces me. We deserve to be dragged down. Self-destruction and self-destruction fanaticism. Her loyalty was shattered, her usual gentleness turned into self-destructive fanaticism. Black thorns stabbed at the ground. Her legs were weak and the leader gnawed the carrion of her ankles. Hallucinations filled her brain with black tide, and her will to die was like a poisonous hook in her heart. The team's psychological despair broke out at the peak. Lin Fan cut off his arms and waved the talisman in the air and shouted, Old Qin is dead and his amulet is broken. Su Wan's unjust soul whipped her for the second sacrifice. Our intestines turned and our legs were turned and the blood was useless. Tang Yue, you have broken the painting and summoned ghosts. Now the army surrounds you and redeems your soul. Qin Feng knelt down at the blood river and vomited bubbles. Qin Xin betrayed Zhang's wife. The girl retreated to the side of the tomb and burned herself. We stopped the blood sacrifice. Su Wan stabbed Lin Fan's arm with blood and cried, Kill me to stop. Joyous life. The urge to kill each other rekindled. The black-clawed zombies were approaching 1 meter. The roar of rot was deafening. The blood sprayed and bitten the legs. The boulder on the top of the tomb fell and broke the road. The endless fear weighed down like thousands of ghosts knocking on the soul. Everyone's brains buzzed and shattered. The cracks in friendship were like knives cutting into the heart, and the shadow of death was forever black. Tang Yue's burnt palm had 4 deep cuts on the bone and was covered with blood. The residual heat in the ancient book's palm was as warm as a lamp. She was as calm as an ice blade cutting through the black tide, ignoring the blood marks on the shoulder and sleeve of the living corpse. Her mind flashed back to the steel lock of friendship, Yiji's bloody shoes and laughter on the eve of the adventure. Sister Yu leads the way invincible. All because of curiosity. No. The painter betrayed the source of the massacre and exchanged his pure soul for hatred. She roared in her heart. Friendship is immortal. The source of the soul-destroying king. Biting the lip, blood sprayed from the throat, suppressing despair and self-blame. Logical night vision locked the pulsating source of the blood Hunan painting. The base of the main painting concealed the remaining crystal core of the relief, and the third page of the incantation required sufficient spiritual power to enter the painting. She flicked the ashes of the ancient book in her palm. The ashes welcomed the river of blood and surged into a storm of golden needles, which buzzed and pierced the center of the living corpse and directly hit the leader-rotten king's chest talisman. The golden needle collided with the rune and exploded into a sea of white flames. The rot king's red eyes shrank and roared in despair. Pure soul, Wugo, break my talisman, pay for betrayal? The chest talisman cracked and was half destroyed. The mangy body was stiff and twitching. The fishhook arm fell softly and smashed into the gravel, and hundreds of vanguards of the zombie army followed and exploded. Bloody mist and mud, footsteps thundering into a mess, heads rolling and smashing into dust, the source of the blood river boiling and weakening, the painting slowing down. The glass cracks in the frame of the Soul King are frozen but not fully opened. The black hole of the ghost gate shrinks and the pale arm retreats half an inch. The red eyes flash with a black light of fear. Hate lock broken? The final cracks in the glass frame of the Spirit King's painting spread and the pulse surged. The painting roared like a hell volcano exploding and shook the whole tomb. The luss on the top of the wall niche collapsed. The army of living corpses surged in from the palace ring road with thunderous footsteps. Black claws and red eyes surrounded the center of the tomb, and the rotten roar surrounded it like a tide. Qin Feng's face was pale and contorted. The blood from his severed finger had stopped and the ashes had disappeared. His ancestral sins had faded into ashes. He knelt down and worshipped Tang Yue like a god with his burning palms. His muddy tears welled up in admiration and tremblingly sobbed. Girl! No pure soul in the Qin family dares to lock the talisman with a golden needle. Your ashes are soaring and stabbing the king of corruption. The talisman is broken and you scream in despair. The bloody massacre of Zhang's wife. The old talisman has changed your path. Qin Zue worships, tearing up the flesh palace and destroying the source. He jumped up and wrapped his teeth around Lin Fan's waist. His gray hair was stained with blood and he pushed Su Wan's black-thorned legs. He pointed at the hidden relief. After the source core.
Who are you?
I swear to follow the lamp. Lin Fan opened his blood-red eyes and locked eyes with the storm of Tang Yue's golden needle. His ribs were broken and he was coughing up blood. His body was trembling violently. He was frightened and worshipped wildly. Tears and blood spurted out, and he threw himself forward on his knees. He hugged Su Wan and shouted an oath. Tang Yue's magic lamp. The ashes and golden needle pierced the rotten king's chest talisman and burst into flames. The army was wiped out in the blood mist. The collar and arms are stiff and we are crying. You burn the 5 marks on your hands and look at the source of the blood, and you are invincible. The pain in your waist and intestines subsides, and you kneel down with your broken leg and destroy the painting. Su Wan's black eyes were sober and burst into tears. All the black thorns shrunk and the blood marks disappeared. And the innocent soul complained and the whip tongue was shattered into ashes. She bowed and cried and threw herself at Tang Yue. Her timid face turned firm and burning. She pulled her burning palm tightly and whispered, Yeah, the golden needle will destroy the tide and rot, Wang Zong. You suppress the steel lock of friendship. Destroy the source. Wife Zhang retreats, the second sacrifice. The main painting is frozen, the blood river is dry. Her loyalty exploded and she turned to the blood oath. Lin Fan, wrap up your wounds and live in peace. The team was reunited like iron in blood. The will burned to the sky in the rotting odor, hunger and cold. Tang Yue took the lead calmly, and the ancient book's gray-hot palm guided the bloody river. She roared. The broken symbols are chaotic. The source core destroys the painting base. The lamp of friendship is not extinguished, and the pure soul changes to hate. Everyone's eyes depended on the fire. Lin Fan shouted lamely. The lighthouse is invincible. Resist to the death. Qin Fengku pushed the relief sculpture with rotten wind and sprayed. Destroy! Su Wan held her hand and cried hard. Yeah? Stop entering the painting. Su Wan's black eyes were instantly swallowed up by dark resentment, like ink splashed on the whites of her pale eyes. The black thorns at her collarbone swelled into twisted vines again, piercing her thin shirt. The sound of tearing flesh and blood echoed at the edge of the blood river. Thick black rotten juice dripped from the tips of each thorn, which merged into the loess under her feet and turned into green pus bubbles. Her usually timid and gentle face twisted into a ghost. Her teeth bit into the blood spray of her lip. She arched her body and rushed towards the 100-meter giant arm of the Spirit King like a sharp arrow, shouting heartbreakingly. You run! Let me stop you for the second sacrifice. Zhang's wife hates debt. Qin betrays the blood river. Su Wan pays for everything. Her legs and ankle bones were as soft as shattering, but they were held up by the black energy of the resentful spirit, turning into a black shadow storm, directly hitting the rotten flesh hook of the fishhook's giant arm. At the moment of the collision, the red light of the giant arm flashed, and the hooks and barbs were embedded in her shoulders. 1/2 kilogram of mud was gouged out of the flesh and blood, and the blood was thrown away and splashed with sweet spray. However, Su Wan's black thorn vines stabbed into the arm flesh, cracking and cracking the skin. For the first time, a hint of ferocious pain flashed through the red eyes of the Soul King. A low roar shook the top of the tomb. Borrowed body. Second sacrifice. Broken hate? Lin Fan's blood-red eyes widened and he stared at the moment when Su Wan's black shadow hit her arm. The muscles of the broken arm twitched like insects. The white worm in the waist and intestines had just retreated. His knees were weak and he was lame and rushed forward. Tears and blood rushed into his throat and he choked and shouted, Su Wan! The arm flesh of the black vine thorn spirit king is bursting. Your second sacrifice is to block the hook with a debt of grievance. Usually you are timid and hug my waist to scare me. Damn it, the giant arm of 100 meters has exploded. Invincible loyalty. I will break my waist and legs, and cut off the corpse to protect you." He picked up the silver powder residue beside Qin Feng's broken finger, crushed it into mortar, and rushed towards the dead body of the rotten king on his knees. The chest charm of the 4-meter mangy corpse was half destroyed and pulsing weakly, and his red eyes shrank into needle points. He waved his broken arm and sprinkled mortar on King Fu's rotten face. The mortar corroded the eye sockets like acid and smoked. King Fu's fishhook arm was limp and finally twitched, smashing the ground and causing rubble to fly. Lin Fan took advantage of the situation and pounced on the broken ribs and stabbed it into his chest. He dug at the remaining talisman core and yelled, "Shattered! The army is in chaos and headless." Hundreds of remaining zombies were struggling and crawling around in the blood mist. Their black claws clawed at the air and cracked the wind. Mortar scattered and corroded their heads, and the rotten flesh of their ankles turned gray. The thunder of their footsteps faded into sporadic clicks. Qin Feng's withered body climbed up from the blood river, and he could see the blood hole of his heart throbbing deep in his chest, covered with gray hair to stop the bleeding. Su Wan's dark eyes stabbed his arm with a black shadow, and 3 broken fingers were bleeding into black scabs. His gray hair was stained with blood and he cried tremblingly, "Miss Su!" In the second sacrifice, the hook arm of the Diamond Soul King exploded and roared in pain. "Are you a coward and roommate who self-destructed? Storm, the blood debt of the Qin family has been borrowed from you." The old queen of the palace beheaded Lin Fan's corpse. He threw up his torn sleeves and wrapped them around Lin Fan's waist. He whipped his gray-haired whip and cracked the head of the corpse, cracking the brains. He grabbed the relief stones from the tomb wall and smashed the chest and talisman of the rotting corpse in the center of the army. The stones were like cannonballs, bursting the flesh, breaking the talisman's veins and turning 10 bodies into ashes. He pushed Lin Fan's lame leg and shouted, "Young man Lin's mortar-soaked corpse!" The old rotten stone smashed the talisman and blocked Su Wan's arm. The river of blood rushed southward to the source of destruction. The two of them joined forces like crazy wolves, and the footsteps of the army of corpses turned into a muddy river of blood. Tang Yue burned the palm with 4 deep bone-wrapped wounds and oozing blood, and the remaining heat in the ancient book's palm pulsated like a lighthouse. She calmly used night vision to cut through the black tide, ignoring the blood marks on her body caused by the hooks of the Spirit King's giant arm, and logically locked the source core of the Blood Hunan painting. The spell on the 3rd page was fully recalled in her mind. Pure soul enters the painting, blood exchanges for hatred, destroys the crystal core and locks the gate of ghosts. Su Wan's black shadow hit her arms and exchanged space. She bit her lip and sprayed out bloody foam. She roared in her heart and pressed the steel lock of friendship. Wanner blew herself up as a sacrifice. My pure soul is exchanged for a full life. Inextinguishable lamp. Swinging the ashes in the palm of her hand, the blood river surged into the second wave of the golden needle storm. The buzzing pierced the tail of the corpse and drilled directly into the relief crystal core of the painting base. The golden needle collided with the nuclear wall and exploded into a sea of white flames. The crystal crackled and the spider web spread. The glass of the Soul King's picture frame was completely shattered and froze at the edges. The black hole in the ghost gate shrank 10 meters. Her pale arms retreated an inch and her red eyes flashed black with fear. Pure soul gray. Locked and broken. Wife Zhang. Pei. She took advantage of the situation and knelt down on the river of blood. She pressed her palms on the relief and recited the incantation sound like an ice blade cutting through the evil wind. The wronged souls will not be separated, and the blood debt must be repaid with blood. Painting the master betrayed Zhang's wife and invited her husband to channel the spirit to seal the glass of the ghost door, and offered 30 blood rivers to the corrupt officials to massacre. The pure soul was inserted into the painting base, and the hatred was eliminated and the door lock was shattered. With each word of the spell, the ashes and golden light surged into the sky, and the golden flames exploded into the crystal core. Lin Fan was lame and kneeling in the river of blood. His arm was broken and the gold needle exploded in the sea of fire. His blood-red eyes were wide open in shock, and he was worshipping fervently. He cried out with tears and blood. Tang Yue's magic lamp. Su Wan self-destructed to block the gap between her arms. You are ashes and gold needles. The second wave of drill source nuclear explosions and flames recited all the curses. The Soul King's red eyes are afraid of shrinking the door lock and withdrawing. The army is in the river of dust and blood. We are worshipping with our waists and legs broken. Cry. Your burning palm night vision suppresses your self-blaming friendship, and the pure soul curse is invincible. The lighthouse is always bright, alive. He hugged Su-wan and fell to the ground. Her black thorn vines shrunk and the bloodstains turned to gray. Her timid face was sober and pale with tears. She bowed and trembled and pulled Tang Yue's burning palm. "You, lock the door. I will die for the second time." Reunion. The final cracks in the glass of the Soul King's picture frame exploded, pulsing like a heart beating wildly. The black hole in the ghost gate expanded 20 meters, and the real body of the Soul King was completely resurrected with 1,000 layers of rotten skin. Tang Yue was locked with red eyes and blood, and the 100-meter giant fishhook tore the air and grabbed it straight down. Pure soul. Come, pay with blood. Su-wan's black eyes suddenly flashed with black light, and she self-destructed and possessed, roaring and charging. You run. Let me block you for the second sacrifice." The team reunited in blood. The rancid hunger and cold dissipated into lingering smoke. The burning will turned into a warm current. Tang Yue stood up calmly. The ancient books were all gone, and the heat disappeared from her palms. She whispered, "Hate to change." The door lock. But the victory was instantaneous. The red eyes in the painting of the Soul King flashed with black light, and the counterattack roar shook the heart. Repay, incomplete. The second form. Swallow the pure soul. The black hole of the ghost gate exploded again, and the glass shards automatically pieced together. Pulsating heartbeats, the real body of the Spirit King exploded with layers of mangy skin. Countless fishhook arms danced wildly to tear the air. The huge rocks on the top of the tomb roared and fell like a meteorite rain. The lust collapsed and sealed the blood in Hunan. The side niches collapsed and crushed out of the ruins maze. Everyone was buried deep in the cracks. The oxygen gradually became sultry and sweet. Every breath was taken. In the ruins, Lin Fan dug into the earth with a broken arm and coughed up ashes. Tang Yue's palms burned with blood-red eyes. Fear turned to dependence and he trembled. Lighthouse. The Spirit King counterattacked in the second form, and the tomb collapsed in the ruins, burning out the oxygen and burning his lungs. Su-wan's blackthorn ashes, don't you curse and hate them all? We can't dig out the filth. Worship and wait for the lamp to be reversed. Su-wan bowed and curled up with black eyes in panic, timidly grabbing Tang Yue with her hands. Jiao burst into tears. Yeah, oxygen is thin and dizzy. I am left with resentment in the second sacrifice. Pure soul in exchange for all the sources of destruction. Qin Feng put his hands on the stone and gasped for black foam. His chest was bleeding and he worshipped. Girl. Note at the bottom of the third page of the ancient book. The seal requires a person's soul to be voluntarily donated to the core of the painting. Blood is exchanged for full hatred. The Qin family is impure, you are innocent. The old and dirty blood cannot stop it. Tang Yue scanned the ruins with his night vision, pressed his palm on the cracked relief core. Gray heat poured into his heart, and his heart struggled like a knife. Dedicated his pure soul to the painting? Yiji's shoes are smiling with blood from the steel locks of friendship. Su-wan is holding her arms in fear of ghosts. Lin Fan is protecting her with iron arms. Qin Feng is ashamed and confessing. Curiosity breaks the door and causes trouble. And all are redeemed alive? Biting the lip and causing blood foam to suppress despair. Calm logic cuts through fear. Give up part of the source of the soul lock, and the shadow of the rest of your life will be exchanged for complete victory. She roared. Personal sacrifice. Part of the soul enters the core. Friendship is immortal. But the second form of the Spirit King, with red eyes and black light, approached the top of the ruins. The diamond seam of the fishhook arm cracked and tore the air, and the rotten roar was deafening. Swallow. Qin. Chun. A hook arm blasted through the top of the stone, grabbing Qin Feng's withered body, and his gray hair flew away and pushed on everyone's side. The hook pierced the chest and exploded into the heart. The blood mist sprayed into the sky, and the withered legs twitched and whispered. Qin Sui, stop. Girl Xian. The Spirit King swung his body with his hook arm and smashed into the wall and smashed into mud. Tang Yue's red-eyed locks burned his palm closer to 1 meter. The black hole's ghost gate expanded and swallowed the oxygen even thinner. The shadow of death weighed down like thousands of ghosts knocking at the heart. The sultry heat and rotten sweetness in the depths of the ruins was like thousands of insects crawling into the lungs. Every breath pulled at the embers in Tang Yue's burned palms. Her night vision map cut out the outline of the gravel maze in the darkness. The side niches collapsed into iron walls, and the south bank of the blood river, the cracks in the ground are like the bloody mouth of a giant beast. The second form of the Soul King's rotten body is pulsating like a heart. Countless fishhook arms are dancing wildly from the cracks in the stone roof. The red eyes and black light lock on her and burn the 4 deep bones of her palm. The black hole of the ghost gate opens and swallows her. At the end of the oxygen, the shards of glass on the edge automatically merged together with a rattling heartbeat, and he let out a low and muffled roar. Swallow pure soul, Qin's crime is not fully repaid. Qin Feng's corpse was thrown against the wall and shattered into bloody mud. His gray hair scattered like withered grass, and his chest exploded. The bloody hole in the rotten heart was still twitching. The withered hand with severed fingers and scabs trembled slightly. The fingertips pointed at the remnant core of the relief, and the note at the bottom of the 3rd page of the ancient book echoed in her mind like a ghost whisper. A person's soul voluntarily sacrificed to the core of the painting, and blood was exchanged for all hatred. Lin Fan's broken arm dug into the soil. His fingernails burst into blood. His lame leg was weak and his knees sank into the gravel. The phantom of the white insect in his waist and intestines had just retreated. He stared at the Soul King with widened blood-red eyes as his hooked arm approached Tang Yue 1 meter away. Fear was like a knife garroting his throat, choking up sobs and roaring. Lighthouse! Qin Feng's heart bursts with blood and mud blocks the hook. The second form of the Spirit King is a 10,000-layered mangy fish hook dancing with red eyes and swallowing your burning palms. The oxygen is exhausted, the lungs are burned, the dizziness is black, and we are so dirty that we can't dig out the top of the stone. Su Wan's blackthorn ash, are you still complaining about your pure soul? Sister Yu usually leads the way and makes fun, but now Yiji buried her bloody shoes in the cemetery and broke her heart to Master Qin. I'm waiting for you to defy heaven. He threw himself on me and crushed me. Su Wan curled up and hugged her shoulders to dig out the mud and blood marks. She shed tears and blood and trembled in worship. Her waist hurt like fire, but she grabbed Tang Yue's clothes tightly. Magic lamp. Give part of your soul in exchange for life. We will stay with the lighthouse forever. The remaining ink in Su Wan's black eyes faded in panic. Her timid face was as pale as paper and she clutched at the cloth strips of Tang Yue's burning palm. The bloody marks on her shoulders turned gray and stung like needles. She was dizzy, her throat was thin and her throat was sweet, and she sobbed. Yu. Chapter the second priest complained about the thorny vines and smashed his arm to pieces. Your gray needle exploded in the second wave and chanted a curse to lock the door and temporarily retreat. My timid roommate usually hugs your waist for fear of ghosts, but now the self-destruction storm hits the hook arm and throws blood and mud? Master Qin's gray hair pushes us to death? My heart exploded. The Soul King's red eyes and black light swallowed up the pure soul, and the oxygen burned my lungs. I was left with ashes of resentment, and the pure soul was exchanged for the remaining core of the painting base. Yu Wusho beacon. Don't give it all, part of it is reunited and live. Her black thorn vines shrunk into gray scabs, and her fingertips trembled across the residual heat in Tang Yue's palms. Tears fell from her eyes and she turned to dependence. Lin Fan, who was usually gentle and timid, turned to bloody loyalty. She curled up in Lin Fan's arms and muttered, My boyfriend has broken his waist and arms. Yaya defies heaven and we will live. Tang Yue scanned the ruins with a calm night vision, pressing the remains of the relief with his burning palms. Gray heat surged into his heart, pulsating like a lighthouse. All the spells from ancient books were recalled in his mind, cutting away fear. The pure soul Wusho voluntarily entered the base of the painting, exchange blood for hatred and destroy the source. The steel lock of friendship is twisted in the heart. Yi's bloody shoes phantom smiles. Sister Yu leads the way. Su Wan holds her arms in fear of ghosts and explodes to block the hook. Lin Fan worships with his iron arms protecting his waist. Qin Feng confesses his blood debt with shame. Curious touched the broken glass to summon the undead. And lived to atone for his sins? Despair was overwhelming like 10,000 ghosts knocking at their hearts. The Spirit King's fishhooks and arms were cracking and tearing apart the cracks in the stone. He was approaching half a meter away. His sweet breath was spraying out of his face was red, His eyes were flashing, and the black light was flickering, swallowing up the fear. She bit her lips to bits and pressed down her throat with bloody foam. She roared and suppressed the steel lock. Part of the soul's sacrifice. Friendship is immortal, total victory. Swinging the burned palm, the remaining heat penetrated directly into the remaining core, and the 4 deep marks on the palm of the palm were broken by the bone. The third wave of golden light was like a rainstorm of needles buzzing. The ring pierced the crystal core and the cracks intensified and merged into the painting base glass shards to piece together the heartbeat. The spell ice blade cutting Feng and blurted out. The wrong soul will not be separated, and the blood debt will be paid with blood. The painter Qin Zhu betrayed Zhang's wife, invited her husband to channel the ghost door to seal the glass, and donated blood to the river. 30 corrupt official seals slaughtered the full moon for revenge. The pure soul part Wujiu voluntarily entered the painting base core, and the blood was exchanged for total hatred, and the broken door will be locked forever. The golden light soared like a sea of fire. The remnant core of the painting base cracked and cracked, the spider web cracked, the second form of the Soul King twisted with red eyes and black light, the skinned body twitched and exploded with green pus, the fishhook arm danced wildly, the barbs gouged out the rotten flesh, shattered and scattered gravel, the black hole of the ghost gate shrank into the eye of a needle, the glass shards and the frozen gold crystal had no pulse, the low roar and scream shook the ruins. Pure soul enters the core. Full compensation. Zhang's wife hates it to pieces. The door lock. The layers of skin on the rotten body turned to dust and peeled off like an avalanche. The red eyes exploded and black juice sprayed out. The hook arm was broken and smashed against the stone roof. The luss in the tomb fell to pieces. The iron walls of the side niches cracked. The oxygen retreated into the breeze. The dead souls disappeared without a whisper, and the seams of the blood river were buried forever in the frame. Lin Fan's blood-red eyes widened as he stared at the third wave of the golden sea of fire. The muscles of his severed arm twitched in worship. His lame legs fell weakly on his knees and he cried out with tears and blood. He shouted, "Tang Yue's magic lamp is invincible. Some of the pure souls are invincible." The third wave of golden needles rained down all the broken glass. The Soul King's second form, the red eye, is terrifying, and the skin is gray and avalanche. The hook arm is cut off and smashed, and the ghost's needle eye is frozen forever without a pulse. The whole army wiped out Master Qin's blood and mud to atone for his sins. We worshipped and cried with our waists and legs cut off, and the steel locks of friendship were sacrificed for victory. The lighthouse always stayed alive. Your daily boyfriend protects Su Wan. Today you are an innocent god, and we bow down to thank you. He hugged Su Wan and stood up. His waist and intestines were gray and hot, and his lame legs were trembling as he pushed the stone out of the way. His eyes were filled with shock and worship as if he saw a miracle. Su Wan's black eyes were clear and she was timid and gentle, and the bloodstains on her shoulders were gouged out with pale gray scabs. She bowed and pulled Tang Yue's burned palm cloth tightly and burst into tears, hugging her. Her timid face was twisted and she sobbed with joy. Yu Lighthouse. All the grudges have faded in the second sacrifice. Part of your pure soul has entered the core in blood in exchange for hate. The door lock is shattered. The King of Souls screams in an avalanche of gray and breaks the hook without roar. How dare I? I hugged your waist for fear that the ghost would explode and vines would pierce my arms. Now I am awake and reunited. Yiji's bloody shoes will be forever shadowed. Master Qin's broken heart entrusted me. But we survived. Invincible friendship steel lock. Thanks to the magic lamp. She curled up in Lin Fan's broken arms, her usual loyalty turned bloody and determined, and she pointed at the gap in her waist and trembled. My boyfriend's waist is broken. Climb out of the sky. The ruins cracked like a way out, and the residual heat from Tang Yue's burned palms subsided into the stinging shadow of eternity. Her calm night vision map locked onto the rising cracks in the dry river, and a steel lock grew in her heart to crush the remains of curiosity, from the broken glass of the picture frame causing disaster to the sacrifice of pure soul in exchange for victory. The responsibility of a leader will always be shouldered. The frame of King Ling's painting is forever sealed with gold crystals in the ground without veins. The side walls of the tomb have completely collapsed, sealing off the depths. The luss is rolling over the top, leaving only a narrow gap leading to the sky. The three of them were bathed in blood and helped each other. Their arms were broken, their limbs were broken, their waists were broken, and they were digging stones on their knees. The putrid stench, hunger and cold retreated into lingering smoke, and there will burned the sky and turned into the warm current of dawn. Lin Fan broke off his arm, threw stones, coughed up ashes and shouted, "Lighthouse leader! Dig a crack and crawl outside the cemetery. Lord Qin is guarding the tomb with a smile of blood and mud. We will redeem ourselves alive." Su Wan grabbed the corner of her clothes and timidly pushed the gravel, tears streaming down her face. "Yu is innocent. Never touch the grave." Tang Yue pressed his palm against the wall and murmured, "Get out. The shadow back." At the end of the fissure, the tomb collapsed with a roar like thunder. After the huge waves of lust were pressed down, the three people rushed out of the grass on the edge of the cemetery. The midnight turned to dawn and the east was blood red. The ancient tomb soil turned and stopped. The dark wind retreated into morning mist. The picture frame was buried deep and never to be recovered. Lin Fan lay paralyzed on the grass and wrapped his broken arms around Su Wan's shoulders. His blood-red eyes locked in the sky and the dawn shocked him. He worshipped and shouted, "Alive!" Tang Yue's magic lamp dedicated his soul to the soul-smashing king. The dawn illuminated the cemetery without ghosts. We crawled out with broken waists and legs bathed in blood. The shadow of Yiji and Master Qin always weighed on our hearts. But the invincible reunion of the lighthouse was joyful. He hugged Su Wan with tears streaming down his face, his lame leg twitching and crying with joy. Qin Feng's withered face was twisted in worship. His chest was wide and his heart was steady, and the scabs on his severed fingers were all gray. He knelt in front of the relief to worship Tang Yue and recited the golden mantra. His muddy tears burst into trembling words and swore, "Girl's lamp!" The pure soul ash needle explodes and the core chants on the third page. Qinzu betrayed Zhang's wife and the blood river hates the chain. Broken. Your palms are burnt and your bones are clean. No one dares to guard the tomb for generations. The old man Qinzue worships, tearing up the flesh to thank the lighthouse. He pushed Lin Fan and Su Wan to stand up, pointing to the crack in the river. The source is destroyed. The door is shrinking. The way out is revealed. Su Wan bent over Lin Fan, timidly holding onto the cloth strips of Tang Yue's burning palms with her timid hands, her pale face bursting into tears as the dawn reflected on her face. Yu, the second sacrifice is complete, and the shadow of the pure soul is replaced by the dawn of life. We usually have roommates on adventures, but now we swear to the cemetery. The friendship will be sealed forever. She lowered her head and kissed the gray scab on Lin Fan's waist. Her tenderness and timidity turned into determination and joy of survival. Tang Yue knelt down on the weeds and burned her palms, stinging the eternal shadow. She scanned the calm cemetery with her calm night vision. The secret of the ancient painting's psychic power was buried deep in the dark. She grew up with a steel lock on her heart. Curiosity caused Yiji to bury her blood. Su Wan used the sacrifice, and Qin Feng atones for his sins, all of which redeemed part of his soul. As the dawn warmed them up, the three of them hugged and were reborn. The city lights loomed in the distance. When they drove back to the edge of the city, the apartment lights were as bright as before. A few days later, in the hustle and bustle of the city, Tang Yue's scars on her palms ached, and shadows flickered outside the window on a full night every month. She murmured, "I will never explore." Su Wan timidly hugged her waist and curled up on the sofa, with eternal fear in her eyes. "Yea, a lighthouse. The shadows are shared." Lin Fan's broken arm and prosthetic wrapped around the scar on his waist, and his blood-red eyes worshipped and clenched his fists. The magic lamp swears. The city is alive, and the cemetery is sealed forever. The three of them looked at each other. The remaining warmth of the dawn suppressed the shadows forever, and the steel lock of friendship was immortal. The reader felt satisfied with the redemption.